let's take a look at the starting grid brought to you by Bank of America. And we'll have to go through a few pages before we get to Kyle Larson. But it is playoff drivers that are making up the first three rows. You've got Reddick and Bell up there. Wallace, I think a very impressive qualifying performance for Bubba Wallace. He was following his teammate Tyler Reddick out there during qualifying. I think that helped a lot.
It did. We're going to talk a lot about playoff drivers, but let's not forget about Chase Elliott, still winless. He's won here at the ROVAL twice. Could this be the day, right, where he kind of gets that behind him and goes back to victory lane?
Five-time winners on road course racing. Martin Truex Jr. back there in row 6. Also Ross Chastain, he's won on the road course before. William Byron has already won, and Ryan Blaney, so they're already advanced to the round of 8.
Yeah, a lot of focus right there in row 10 with a couple playoff drivers a little bit farther back. We see Eric Jones in the 43. Has had some really good runs recently, trying to continue that momentum. Mike Rockefeller, you talked about Garage 56. There's one of the drivers that took part. Mike Rockefeller's in the 42 today in row 13.
And all the way back here, we see Larson and Ty Dillon also had to go to a backup car.
And Rick, I know we thank Larson, but I want to take a minute and remind everybody again, you know, everything on the line. The weekend has not started well at all. 15 points above can't be comfortable, but for him to take the time on those pace laps and talk to us means a lot. It shows you why he was a champ, and I think it shows why he has such a big fan base.
Yeah, and he put a lot of the pressure on himself yesterday, was very dejected after he did get into the wall. All right, so we're seeing Harvick in the 4. Looks like maybe indexing his wheel or something there. He came to a stop on the inside, but I want to check out the Bank of America track map, and 17 turns here, Steve.
Yeah, 17 corners. The ROVAL, because it is a combination of a road course and an oval, normally uses the start-finish line like the oval itself does. Then we go to the infield for basically 8 corners, pretty flat, lower speed corners, and 9, 10 back on the banking. 11 to 12 is kind of the backstretch chicane. 13, 14 is the banking again of the oval, and then 15 through 17 is a front stretch chicane complex. So it's really 2 straightaway chicanes with an infield section. The infield section does have some passing zones and very easy to make a mistake.
We can talk about it later, but turn 11 and turn 15, if you miss those, there are places where you have to stop to avoid penalty.
Yeah, basically you can get overcommitted in either location. You got to have an exit plan. We'll talk about the race itself, right? It's 109 laps here at Charlotte. The first stage, 25 laps. The second, another 25 laps. That final stage, much, much longer at 59 laps. They can run in the mid-30s on fuel, and what we haven't seen this year are cautions at the end of the stages. Those are back in play. So for that reason, strategy is going to be a big conversation because it's all about points.
All right, let's get a few more details on some of these playoff drivers, including Ross Chastain. We'll go back to Kim.
Well, Rick, after getting caught up in a crash last weekend at Talladega, Ross Chastain finds himself 10 points below the elimination line at a track where he has never finished better than 22nd. I talked with the team this morning, and they said the best thing they can do today is to play offense and worry about themselves. Crew Chief Phil Surgeon said their focus at the beginning of the race will be to score stage points, but as the race continues, it's going to be key to change their strategy if need be. That's the flexibility they're going to have today. See what the rest of the field does and then figure out what's going to be best to move them on to the next round. Dave.
Kim, we know that Martin Truex Jr. is a regular season champion. When I talked to his crew chief this morning, with their plus 17 to the cut line buffer, he told me not comfortable with that. They've had a rough playoffs. Their best day was a 17th place finish at Texas. They're thankful for the 36 playoff points they had going in. So the regular season champion has never been eliminated before the round of 8. And you know, Martin Truex Jr. aims to keep that stat very alive today, Marty.
Dave, you heard Kyle Larson mention a moment ago a very late night for his race team, well past midnight to get this backup car ready for today. And Larson really blamed that accident on himself. You heard that a second ago as well, and was very hard on himself. This is Jeff Gordon, who runs things at Enric Motorsports. He spent a good 10 minutes after the wreck just trying to get Larson to smile, to loosen up a little bit. When I talked to Larson this morning, I said, have you forgiven yourself for that wreck yesterday? He said, not really, to be honest with you. I'll tell you in a few hours if I'll forgive myself or not. So what's the path forward to the round of 8 for this race team? Well, Cliff Daniels, his crew chief, reminded me this morning, Rick, in this race last year, Ross Chastain started last on the field and won stage 2. He said stage points can be there for us today. If they're there, we have to grab them, but a win sure would be nice, but that's going to be almost impossible to do from the back of the field today for Kyle Larson.
Yeah, Marty, let's give you just a quick explanation of points, because we're going to say points a lot today. But at the end of each stage, the top 10 finishers at the end of those stages, they all are available to get points. So the winner of the stage gets 10 points, all the way down to the person who finishes in 10th, they get 1 point. And then after the 2 stages are done, then it's based on their running position, where they're running, and where they finish the race as to how many points they'll get for the race. And each position is a point on the racetrack. So when we get into that third stage, that third and final stage, we're going to be talking about passes being very important.
And that's the best snapshot, to be quite honest. There's a lot of kind of projections and guesses of what's going to happen, but cheer your driver on, remind yourself where they are currently, and then after we exit the finish of the second stage, it'll be very clear the goal ahead for all of these drivers around the cut line.
All right, let's listen in to the 23 radio, a little pep talk.
All right, whatever happens, proud of you guys. I appreciate it. Let's not take ourselves out of it. Let's have a good, solid day. Appreciate it. See you at the end of it. Yeah, man. Let's make it happen.
So much on the line. There are 12 drivers right now that still have a chance at a championship. After this race, only 8 drivers will have that opportunity to win a title.
So the real question is, we saw the Xfinity Series. We just heard Jeff Burton talk about the new restart location being different than in years past. We got to see the Xfinity Series race. Now the Cup guys, it's their turn. And, you know, it's just different. I can't tell you what exactly is going to happen. I can just tell you it's going to look very different than in years past.
Well, I can tell you one thing that's different already is Tyler Reddick, the pole sitter. He's picked what essentially is the outside leading into turn 1. That's something we have not seen here in the past. He's thinking he can get a better launch in that restart zone. We're going to see. We're going to learn along with him.
Reddick's in the 45 on the outside. Christopher Bell in the 20 on that inside line as they come to the start zone. Racing at the ROVAL is underway.
Green flag.
Jeff, you called it. The outside lane for Tyler Reddick, a big advantage. No wheel spin. He's easily clear into turn 1.
Side by side for second. Bubba Wallace trying to come up there and challenge the 20 of Christopher Bell, but it's Bell that has moved out to that second spot. And now Bubba Wallace on the inside trying to get third and secure that position. Daniel Suarez fighting him for the spot.
You can see how tight this racetrack is. It's actually an elevation change. They're actually going downhill right now. Approaching this corner, a heavy left-hander. This is what will put them on NASCAR turn 1, the oval. And it is a very difficult racetrack. You see Ty Gibbs already trying to get underneath Joey Logano.
Speeds upwards of over 150 miles an hour now down the backstretch to a heavy braking zone.
Yeah, I believe the heaviest really on the series, or excuse me, on the circuit. The backstretch chicane and the front stretch chicane, pretty equal, but heavy braking, funneling down, really single thread through the backstretch chicane. You have a chance to go too wide into the front stretch chicane, but you better get it sorted out by exit.
2-3 car lengths separating the top 2 now, and you see them, they're going over that curbing. We're going to see a lot of that. And Steve, is there any fear that these cars can hold up to the beating and banging we're going to see?
Well, these cars are very tough, as we see the 54 of Ty Gibbs trying to dive out of line on the 22, that yellow car of Joey Logano. You know, they should be fine under normal circumstances, but Jeff, I would ask you to not use the blue curbing. The red and white curbs are kind of normal. They're more like rumble strips, but the blue curbs are true curbs, a few inches tall, and if you hit those, the car can really easily go airborne.
We have seen some mechanical issues with these cars, suspension parts when they hit those curbs too hard. There's a little bit of speed there, though, so you got to decide at what point in the race do you want to be on them, which point of the race is it not necessary for you to do.
Great shot from the Celsius onboard of A.J. Allmendinger right down there on the front bumper.
Kind of interesting. I don't know if I was seeing some drops on this camera from the car in front, or if it was maybe a little bit of fuel out of the fuel filler. You know, they're completely full to start the race.
See how tight that rear chicane is. We'll see a lot of overtaking attempts just like this, but it is narrow through there. If you're going to go side by side, it requires a tremendous amount of respect.
Not conceded. I think that 19, the orange and black car of Martin Truex Jr. thought that would be conceded by the white car of Austin Dillon. It wasn't. It was side by side, and now side by side, the 48, the ally. That's Alex Bowman, who, much like his teammate Chase Elliott, still looking for his first win of the season. Missed the drivers' playoffs.
Alex Bowman with a back injury, broken back throughout the year, and missed 3 races.
See Austin Dillon in that 3 car trying to outbrake Bowman into 1. Now he's got tons of pressure from Blaney. This might be the most fun race Blaney ever runs at the Roval. Won last week. He knows he's advancing to the next round.
You know what, though? Jeff says that, but you know what I've learned about race car drivers? He is not thinking about last week. As soon as they put a helmet on, he's trying to win this race. Now, if things go bad, he'll be able to take a deep breath and say, oh, thank goodness I won last week. But right now, he's just all focused on the car ahead. I mean, it sounds good like he would be relaxed, but drivers can't.
And the other thing out there is playoff points. Playoff points are still very valuable as we go into the next round, which will be the round of 8. You get a playoff point for winning a stage. So there are 2 playoff points for stage 1 and then stage 2, and then 5 playoff points for winning a race. So those are still available out there, Dave.
Rick, as you see Blaney putting the pressure on and trying to move forward, his 17th place starting position is not reflective of how good the car is. That according to his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler. So you should see him moving forward here with that good attitude and with a better car than shown in qualifying.
Kyle Larson in this 5 car.
And starting to back, you can see how aggressive he's being. He's made it up to 29th, trying to get by Briscoe for 28th. Briscoe putting the fight up. That outside lane works pretty well over here because now Briscoe's got the preferred lane. He's on the inside. Larson has to concede the spot. Going to try to slide underneath him. Isn't able to make it work. But you can see how hard it is to pass and what a penalty it is by having to start in the back. And he's driving hard. I mean, he is putting every bit of effort into this right now. He's not just riding around saying, hey, I got plenty of time. He knows he's got to get through this field.
Already up 7 spots for Kyle Larson, trying to get that next spot from Chase Briscoe and trying not to lose one to Harrison Burton as well. So the goal here, Steve, was for them to get close to the top 20 by the end of stage 1. I think that certainly is an easy goal. Maybe not an easy goal, I should say, for Kyle Larson to get to, but attainable considering they've already gotten 7 spots here in just 3 laps. But how aggressive, Steve, would you want your driver being coming up through the field? You don't want to damage the car, but you certainly want to get that track position if you can.
Well, I mean, Kyle Larson's a champion. He knows the level. I would kind of give him a goal and let him know where I think I can help him on pit road because I believe he's going to have a chance to get easily inside the top 15 on strategy with that and a good car, although this makes you nervous. The 43 goes around right in front of him.
Now we'll see if he gets turned around. He does, so a caution will not come out.
He's running 27th.
Now that is what you're concerned about. I don't think Kyle Larson's going to make a huge mistake driving, but right in front of him, you see the back kind of get light, and then he turns in underneath the 78, and that's a combination, Jeff, I think, of curbing and the 78 all stacked up. His option was to kind of spin himself out or to spin Hammond and the 78 out.
That's a very difficult braking zone, right? So you're turning the car, you're coming off of the NASCAR corner banked, and now you're going to a flat surface. So the car doesn't want to brake well. He got committed. He said, I'm making this pass right here. Got deeper into the chicane, and he just couldn't make it work.
Back running the correct direction, but this is not good as we see the 47 on pit road. Kim, what's going on?
Well, he hit the wall with the right rear in the opening lap, so the team doing repairs, not sure the extent if it's a bent or broken toe link. Ricky said on the radio after the hit, it is not driving great, so repairs right now on the 47 at Stenhouse.
That's the fear, right? Ricky did not make this round of the playoffs, but the same thing that happened to him could happen to one of our playoff drivers.
Out in front, it's Tyler Reddick, and he is a 1.2 second lead over Christopher Bell here at the Roval. 5 laps complete, lap 6. Saturday night, Caleb Williams and the USC Trojans are heading to South Bend to face Sam Hartman and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. You know, still undefeated. USC Trojans survived a 3 overtime win at home versus Arizona. And Notre Dame coming off a tough loss on the road at Louisville. Still out front, Tyler Reddick has led all 7 laps that have been completed. Led 21 laps here last year, but finished in 8th as we take a look at the foot cam.
This is so great right here. So this right here, that's kind of the steering shaft. You're going to see that turn kind of left and right. You can almost look at that universal joint, that knuckle in the middle of it. And you see the feet doing the work. The clutch pedal, nothing to see there. That strap you see that kind of gets your attention over the top right there, that's actually connecting the 2 leg boards together. So if you have an accident, you don't like knock the right leg board kind of out of the way. That can be dangerous on your right leg. This is a great example of just the work being done. Left foot braking, right foot, that tap, Jeff, that's for the downshift, right? Match the RPM stuff so it falls into gear better.
Correct. You cannot just jam it in gear. You've got to give it a little bit of throttle, get the RPMs up to sync up the transaxle. If you don't, you can lock the rear tires up. You can actually break the transaxle if you don't get the timing of all that right.
Thank Coke Zero Sugar for helping us provide this camera. Not only are the onboards always great, but then Daniel Suarez, Trackhouse, his entire team to show us this footwork, really, really cool.
And we also have the progressive telemetry for Daniel Suarez, so you know what gear he's in, when he's on the gas, when he's on the brake.
So the gear selector is interesting. So the Xfinity cars with a 4-speed, the entire infield is 2nd gear. No shifting, and I've kind of been watching Suarez here to get an idea if there's any shifting on the infield area. Now he climbs the high bank. We're going to see 4th gear. I think it's 5th gear heading into the backstretch chicane. We'll see what the front stretch does as well. So this is high gear.
Look at the speed, 155 miles an hour, heavy braking. This is a very, very tight corner, all the way down to 55, 50 miles per hour.
3 downshifts. We'll see if he gets all the way to high gear. I think he's going to again. Still a long way around in the front stretch. Yeah, there you go. 5th gear again, Jeff.
Ooh.
Oh, well, so what happens, you heard it bottoming out.
Yeah.
That was that noise. So what happens is there's so many G-forces on the car in the banking that the car travels more. In the road course section, it doesn't hit as bad, but you need the car low through this part of the racetrack, which means it's too low on the other parts of the racetrack. It's just a balance that the crew chief has to strike.
The first time we saw this track, I remember to this day, Jeff and I went around in one of the pace cars.
Yeah.
And so, well, the banking, they should drive pretty good. And I said, well, they will until I set it up for the infield. And they just rolled his eyes, crew chiefs. But that's what you have to do, Jeff. It's a compromise.
That's right. I mean, this part of the racetrack, I mean, it's just so much slower. And this is where you win the race. I mean, this is getting the car to drive well in this portion of the racetrack. That's who's gonna win this race. The speed's not on the straights. It's in the slow parts of the racetrack is where you can gain an advantage or somebody can be better than you.
5.9 seconds back is Chase Elliott right now. And again, Elliott searching for a win after not making the playoffs. Still wanting to have momentum going into next season, but looking for a win. He missed 7 races this year.
Well, you know, if you're going to find a place to win, this is a good place to come. He's won here twice. We talk so much about strategy and track position and all of those things. Well, Chase Elliott won in the face of all of those. Back in 2019, goes into the tire barrier, and yes, that's the same car with a little damage on the hood coming back, and this might be the coolest celebration. Like one of those, are you not entertained, kind of looking to the crowd, and then 2020 came back and backed it up with another win at the ROVAL.
The in-car radio when he stuffed that thing in the wall was, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
You know, and he thought the race was over. And they just did a great job, put tires on that thing, and he drove it through the field, Kim.
And you guys mentioned the 2 wins he has here, the only driver with multiple wins at the ROVAL, but when I've talked to the team, they think they deserve 4 wins at the ROVAL. They reminded me of the 2021 incident with Harvick, and then last year's late race caution when he was out front. They say Chase is the favorite for this track, for this race this afternoon. And right now, Chase said, I don't dislike my car, and I translate that as Chase is happy with what the race car is doing right now.
It's always the ones you didn't win. Right? It doesn't matter how many times you won. You'd be like, yeah, but it could have been. As you see right here, you know, on the top left of your screen, Reddick about a 1 second over Bubba Wallace running third, the 99 fourth. Bell doing a nice job keeping pressure on Tyler Reddick. Remember, Bell won here a year ago. Much less pressure this week, but still needs to find some points to guarantee advancement. Reddick, though, he came in with kind of all the pressure, but his confidence seemed to match the moment.
Yeah, Reddick coming in just below the line, 2 points below the line at the start of the race, Marty.
Yeah, Reddick does have that confidence this weekend, knowing how good they are at road courses, feeling very confident they can get some stage points today and advance to the round of 8. But Christopher Bell has been really catching him the last few laps. Jeff, where Bell is so good is through the infield section right here and on the exits of the corner. So how do you take advantage of that if you're Christopher Bell, and how aggressive do you get to get by your Toyota corporate teammate?
Well, Marty, down here in this part of the racetrack, the exits of the corner are so important because that means you're able to put the throttle down. You're not spinning the rear tires, and that's huge in that infield section. You're not going to spin tires right here. That's not going to be a problem. But when you try to accelerate out of that slick, flat infield rear grip, that is the key to success.
Heavy braking right here as they go through the backstretch chicane, but it has been all Tyler Reddick. He has led all 11 laps that have been completed. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Bank of America ROVAL 400 from Charlotte. NASCAR Fantasy Live lets you keep tabs on your fantasy lineup throughout the race and allows you to adjust your picks until the end of stage 2. And I'll remind you, visit NASCAR.com/fantasy, or you can select the fantasy icon on the mobile app leaderboard to make in-race changes. As we take a look at the Bank of America fan cam, a beautiful fall afternoon for racing here in Concord, North Carolina, just a little north and east of Charlotte. And still it is Reddick out in front. Bell running second. Bubba Wallace, an impressive run right now, is third. Suarez, Allmendinger in the top 5. Both not playoff drivers. Chase Elliott running 6th. Kyle Busch, the next playoff driver, running in the 7th position. And then Gibbs, Logano, and Chastain rounding out the top 10.
Jeff, you and I had a lot of conversations about Bubba Wallace, you know, and I felt like I needed to see a driver that needed to stop racing to not be eliminated and start racing to earn his way in, right? Be on the offensive. And I couldn't applaud this 23 car more. Through the regular season, I feel like the whole mentality changed. I wish I could tell you what it is. I don't know what it is, but the result is a driver that feels like he's earning his place. He's not racing hoping it doesn't go bad. He's racing looking forward to the points he can go score. I know that sounds small, but that mindset, Jeff, has really changed for the 23.
Confidence matters. You have to be confident. And days like this, when he unloaded here yesterday in practice, he was P1. He went to the top of the board, the fastest driver here. Those are moments that you can look back on and say, hey, I can get this done. Road course racing has been his weakest part. There's no denying that. They went to work, not only he, but his team went to work trying to help him become a better road race driver, and it's working. And when you see a plan coming together, that's when confidence starts to build.
Well, when you mention confidence, Kyle Busch exudes confidence. And although lately that has changed a bit, Kyle Busch running right now in the 7th position. Want to take a look just a little while ago. He's got Ty Gibbs just behind him in the 54.
This turn 8 climbing the banking, you see that's a pretty heavy contact right there. That's the same problem Larson had. He got into it with the right front in practice. And Jeff, it seems like leaving the flat when that right front loads onto the banking, the car just wants to kind of go straight. It's a lot easier to get up that hill quicker than you think.
That corner comes up on you, the wall rather, comes up on you so quickly, and you have to be in the throttle, Dave, because if you're not, you don't carry enough speed down the back straightaway. So it's very important to be in the gas climbing that hill.
And Jeff, I think he's okay. Has not reported any damage reports since that. And he was just kind of nonchalant about the balance, a little loose to the left and to the right, but can't turn. It was that situation that may have gotten him in trouble there. But overall, the car is pretty good. I think your pick, Jeff, may still be good. It was you, and who else said he's going to win?
You called it, right?
He's my pick today. He was very fast in practice. He has good pace today. He does not have Tyler Reddick and Christopher Bell pace at the moment, but there's time to work on this car and keep making it better.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, 9 to go here in stage 1. So cautions are back this year at the ROVAL for the first time this year on a road course. So, Steve, you know, the path to winning is to be able to pit early here, and now Brian Blaney coming down pit road, Dave.
Better than he was in practice. That was a report from Brian, but he couldn't get out of the situation he was in. He radioed Jonathan Hassler and said, remember what we talked about this morning. Steve, sometimes you got to do that when your driver is in a place where he's making no lap time. Just bring him to pit road now, and remember, those guys are in a great position as the 2 pits as well.
Sometimes fresh tires aren't always the answer. It's also where you're at on the racetrack. So what these 2 cars right here will do is they'll pit, expecting the cars they're racing to pit, but they'll go out and get a few clean laps, no traffic around them. They'll be able to pick up a half a second, 3/4 of a second, just not having traffic around them. So with 9 to go, I think this shows how much they think tires really don't matter. You wouldn't put tires on early and take a penalty late, Jeff, but right here, I think track position matters the most.
Yeah, it looked like to me the 2 car had a problem on the right rear, and that made that a slow stop. So that is not what you need, right? When you have a pit stop, you've got to make those pit stops clean. You can't have those mistakes. That was a very slow stop with the 2 car.
And Marty, continue on.
Yeah, let's finish up that story. I think pitting with 9 to go is a lot earlier than many people thought they would come down pit road. But Steve, if the path to winning this race is pitting before the end of the stage, we'll see a number of teams not do that, run the stage all the way to the end. So why would teams not make that decision to not take the path towards the win and take the stage points instead?
Well, it's the word of the day, and it's points. You know, everyone on the bottom left in your screen is trying to advance in the playoffs. Everyone has a different agenda. As you see, Buescher and Truex are now tied at +10. Larson, Keselowski, Chastain below. Remember, at lap 25, points are paid for the top 10. So you would stay on the racetrack, Rick, if you can finish inside the top 10, because those are points you have earned. They can't be taken back away. They are guaranteed. But knowing that the caution's got to come out because you don't lose a lap, you would come to pit road first. So that's going to happen with 3 to go for some, 2 to go for others. Pit road closes when the leaders see 2 to go. Christopher Bell, though, making the potential stage win more difficult for Reddick as he's keeping him in touch. Oh, Ty Gibbs with a big move to the inside of Kyle Busch down the backstretch.
That makes me believe that Kyle Busch gave that spot up. He must be getting pressure, wasn't happy with his car, did not want to overstep his bounds and get himself in trouble, and gave that spot up. Kyle Busch said that. Last week he said, I keep getting myself into trouble. I'm making mistakes. I'm pushing too hard, getting myself wrecked. I can't do that anymore. And I think that's what you saw right there. He did not want to try to push harder, give that spot up, live to fight another day.
We're hearing the 6 of Brad Keselowski's going to be under penalty for missing the front stretch chicane. He makes this side of the corner. Let's see, he gets a little loose, goes right. You can barely see it. So Jeff missing the chicane. So if he missed, he had to come to a stop right there in the front stretch. He didn't do it, so therefore it's a pass-through.
You said they feel like we missed it. They already reviewed it once.
They said they reviewed it, and they feel like they missed it. So give me the definition of missing the chicane.
All 4 tires on the non-track side of the white and red rumble strips. It's as simple as that. He had all 4 tires on the wrong side of the red and white, and that is defined as missing the corner.
Okay, so help me again. Not the blue, but the red and white. I think that's the difference, because it looked to me that the 6 car right here is where he missed it, right? So you see the red and white and then the blue bigger curbing. I think his right sides might have touched the blue curbing, but that is definitely non-racetrack side of red and white. That to me is clearly missing it, and we heard over the radio NASCAR reviewed it.
That's right. That big blue curb is there just to punish you. If you do get over there, it's kind of a deterrent trying to ask you not to be there. But these are the kind of mistakes you can't make in this situation. They're in a situation where they could potentially have gotten points in stage 1, and now that may be gone.
And the other issue is it's a pass-through penalty, Rick, so you can't service your car.
Right.
So he can't just pit under green, put tires of fuel, and say, okay, I served my penalty. That is not the same. You must run pit road at pit road speed with no service. So here we go, pitting here. So we'll see the 6 come down, and he should just roll pit road with no service. Now, he's not going to lose a lap. Thankfully, he's not at Bristol or Martinsville, a half-mile track, but track position completely gone.
And already in a bad position after qualifying 19th. So Brad Keselowski below the cut line and serving the penalty for missing the front stretch chicane.
Pit road at the Charlotte Roval, a busy place, and playoff driver Kyle Busch has been on and off of pit road. Remember, he's in a must-win situation. No repair work on that tap to the wall, but 4 Goodyear tires and fuel, Marty.
Boy, Dave, you're going to see a lot of playoff cars come this lap as well. Kyle Larson wound up coming the last time, and what they had done is they had gotten almost to Cliff Daniels' goal, the top 20, by the time they pitted. They were in 21st when Larson pitted. And Steve, the reason a lot of these cars pitted sooner than we thought is because once they hit traffic out on the racetrack, they said, no more, let's come to pit road to get on fresh tires. Dave?
And at 17 of Chris Buescher was on pit road as well. He is back off again. He was having a little trouble in turn 7. That was his worst spot on the track where others were catching him. But under braking, very, very good. The car's solid under Buescher today.
So we saw a wave of pit stops here. Now with 3 to go, I expect you're going to see a whole nother set of cars pit. The leaders have gone by pit road, but here you go. Here's Denny Hamlin, a car that's already won a race. Truex is going to stay out for points. As we sit here comes Alex Bowman, another car. They're going to keep coming. Almirola, LaJoie, they're all going to follow this down. Pit road will be full again. There's the 11 coming down. Nice long pit road. Marty.
Denny Hamlin coming down pit road, 3 to go here in stage 1. This is more in the normal range of when you think cars would come down pit road. Hamlin saying struggling just a little bit through the infield, being a little too tight through there. Otherwise, pretty happy with the handling of the 11 car. They were just outside of the top 10 when they made this stop.
And just outside, but with, you know, the 11 only needing a handful of points, coming in so far above. Mathematically, we couldn't have assured his advancement, but as I mentioned in the pre-race, it was going to be a ton of dominoes. Now, the struggle for the 11 is what you see right here. You heard Marty talk about traffic. He's kind of come right back into traffic with Logano in front. You can't tell who that is. The white and blue car in front of Logano is kind of stacking Logano up right there. You see 2 wide right away. So these races with the lack of yellows are kind of getting Formula One-esque, where it's really about traffic and your cycle on and off. And when all that happens, you see the 45 stays on the racetrack. Surprisingly, the 20 of Christopher Bell comes to pit road. I thought he would stay out for the points, but instead he's going to come to pit road and keep the track position. Marty?
Yeah, Steve, how about this audible by Adam Stevens, who told me this morning, quote, it's irresponsible for us to play for the win today. So giving up these stage points, I'm a little surprised by this. And he told Christopher Bell on the radio, Adam Stevens said, this is going to work out well. It's not our plan originally, but it's going to work out well. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for Christopher Bell, 2 laps to go in stage 1. He'll definitely have the track position, but what do you think about that call, Steve, to walk away from those 9 stage points?
He's not going to walk away from very many. He's going to blend on the racetrack in front of the 99, who Suarez is currently running 6th. So this is, you only lose about 25 seconds pitting at the Roval, where you enter and where you exit the race. You remember, you enter off turn 4, the banking, and you exit over in the infield. You don't run the front stretch chicane, you don't run turn 1. So Bell basically pitted from 2nd and rejoined in 5th. He lost 3 spots, Rick, pitting under green. I mean, think about how spread out the field is. So that is just a great work by the entire 20 team, and Adam Stevens saying, you know what, I'm not going to give up 9 points, Jeff. I'm going to give up 3 points. And I will absolutely give up 3 points to be the first car. So he's going to finish 5th in this stage and have serviced his race car. It's just a really, really, really good call on top of the pit box by Adam Stevens.
You go into the race with a plan, and then as things change, you have to be willing to change with it. And that's a great example. Yep, he came in here thinking he was going to have to stay out to get stage 1 points. The race changed, and he didn't have to. He was able to pit and get stage points. Great call.
And more importantly, he's going to be controlling the race at the start of stage 2, because he was the first one to come. Everybody else that's in front of him is going to come at the end of the stage break. So they come to pit road, and that puts him now in the lead. As we have a spin here.
Yeah, I think Mike Rockefeller must have missed the chicane. That's a stop. So we saw Brad Keselowski had to serve a drive-through. This is on the backstretch, but there you saw a penalty served correctly. Missing one of the chicanes, come to a complete stop. On the lap, you miss it. That's very important. That you must self-impose your penalty. If you run that extra lap, then NASCAR will impose the penalty.
Yeah, and he just stopped in that area that you explained for his penalty. As they're on the final lap, and again out in front, it's Reddick. He's led every lap, 24 laps completed so far. Coming up on the 25th, and the green and white checkered flag for winning the stage. It will give him a playoff point. It will give him 10 stage points, and that is very important for a driver who came into this race 2 points below the cut line. And so they're playing the points game. And Tyler Reddick, as he comes out of turn 17, sees the green and white checkered flag, and he wins stage 1 here at the Roval.
Don't try to hold your breath for the rest of the top 10, Rick, because Tyler Reddick put an impressive drive on. Bubba Wallace has crossed. This is still live. This is a battle right here for 6, right? This is just how good the 45 car was.
Look at Suarez working his way through the final chicane here. And again, Suarez for the 6th position. All the way down to 10th will receive stage points. And then the caution comes out. So Tyler Reddick grabs a playoff point, grabs 10 stage points. He puts those in the bank. They can't take that away. But Reddick, an impressive performance, as well as Christopher Bell, who finished 5th in stage 1.
You don't have to be in the race to be in the race.
Here comes the 94.
Introducing the NASCAR Powerball Playoff. 4 finalists will win a trip for 2 to the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race at the Phoenix Raceway, with the grand prize winner taking home $1 million. Here they are, the 8 semifinalists for the $1 million prize. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR, and home to the NASCAR Powerball Playoff.
The race to 1 million is heating up in the NASCAR Powerball Playoff. 8 fans are locked in for a chance to win $1 million at NASCAR Championship Weekend. Just follow the playoffs to see who advances and who gets cut. So the points earned stage 1, and again, as Steve mentioned, that's probably the drinking word, points today. Reddick gets 10 for winning the stage. You see Wallace, Chastain, Truex Jr., Bell, playoff drivers Busch, all getting some points.
Rick, I hope it's not the drinking word, because you're not going to make Sunday Night Football, and it's a great matchup tonight with the 49ers and the Cowboys.
Yeah, it would be tough. But so strategy here, Steve. You have guy, and Bell came to pit road. So Bell is the highest scored finisher there who came to pit road and won't come to pit road now under this caution.
So every time we think we know the plan, the crew chiefs generate a new one. And Christopher Bell right now and Adam Stevens, they get an A+. They get the highest grade. While they didn't win the stage, they accomplished the best of everything. They scored a bunch of stage points. They have brand new tires on their car. They're full of fuel, and they have track position. That's like the trifecta. They've done a really, really, really nice job. No real surprise. I think Bubba Wallace and Reddick Jeff, they had really no choice. They were kind of pot committed, and this will be the penalty. They're going to come to pit road right now, and you see all the cars staying on the racetrack, Dave.
Martin Truex Jr. started on the plus side of the cut line, Steve. He adds 7 more points to his total by finishing 4th. Air pressure adjustment, a little too tight in the slow corners, Kim.
Bubba Wallace getting much needed stage points. He said he lost lateral grip during that run. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Ross Chastain, bottom left. He said it turns better off the corners than yesterday, but I need more drive off. I've been nursing the rears. Marty.
With the boss man, Michael Jordan, sitting on the pit box watching. Tyler Reddick led every lap of stage 1, but he will be buried in traffic now. Said the car loses grip as they run, and he told Billy Scott, his crew chief, whatever you can do to help me in traffic, that's what I need. That ends the stage 1 with Reddick winning in those 10 stage points. Come back to the ROVAL in Charlotte for the start of stage 2.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by Sonic. Sonic. Fans enjoying themselves here at the ROVAL and taking it in as stage 1 is complete. It was Reddick who got the win behind the wheel of his Toyota. Let's check in with Dave Burns.
Hey, Rick, recently Toyota Racing went to work preparing their development drivers, Jesse Love and Jade Avedisian, allowing them to learn road course racing techniques on the 11-turn karting facility at the Toyota Performance Center. Corey Heim and Jesse Love saw the podium earlier this year in the Toyota GR Cup's first season, which concluded at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Toyota is the only manufacturer to score wins on road courses across all 3 of NASCAR's top levels. And Rick, Toyota continues to try to give themselves a lot of different opportunities for their drivers to develop them and make them part of something greater.
And we saw it out of Christopher Bell and the win a year ago, the win to advance into the round of 8. And Bell right now being scored as the race leader here.
That's the view everybody wants to see right there.
Yeah. Well,
Right
pace
here,
car.
this is the choose line. This is where pick whether you want to restart on the inside or the outside. This is in a new location for this year as well. Just gives the drivers enough time to choose and then get lined up. We saw on some road courses earlier this year that they would choose and didn't have time to get lined up. They would come to the start-finish line, dropping a green flag, and they were nowhere close. So NASCAR moved that further away from the start-finish line.
So, Jeff, we talked about who scored stage points. That's kind of the update of who had success in stage 1. But now I think it's worth kind of updating on what does that mean heading into stage 2. And what that means is, you mentioned it, Christopher Bell is in great position currently up front. But it's not just him, right? So Reddick, who won stage 1, Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Truex Jr., they're all the way back now outside the top 20. They are 10 rows, more than 10 rows off the front row. Keselowski, he had the double whammy. He didn't get points, and he lost track position with that penalty he was under. As you look on board with the 23 of Wallace, look at what is in front of you on this restart.
This is the penalty for getting those points. And now you're afraid you're going to get in a wreck. You're afraid they're going to wreck in front of you, going to get you caught up into it. Now we have seen that new tires are certainly faster. So look for these guys to push quickly right here to take advantage of the guys in front of them that pitted many laps before.
Riding along with Allmendinger, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, and Daniel Suarez. We have their onboard cameras as they get ready to come into the restart zone. Again, Bell and Suarez making up row 1. Bell will be on the inside of this right-hander, Suarez on the outside, and we're back to racing.
Contact right there. Suarez into the side of the 20 car.
Through turn 1 cleanly, and now into 3 they go. Bell easily clearing it out front, and a little bumping and banging between Chase Elliott and Daniel Suarez. Elliott trying to take second away.
And on the bottom of your screen in the middle, Martin Truex Jr. That is the sight that the playoff drivers were scared about. Look at the traffic in front, traffic to the right side.
Elliott clears Suarez. He's got second now. Denny Hamlin also gaining a spot, trying to get by that 22 of Logano.
The 24 and the 34 side by side down the back straightaway. Joey Logano also to the 11. It's almost impossible to go through here side by side. There's going to have to be some give and take to make this work.
Who gave and who took?
It didn't look like either.
I'm not sure. I think the 11 gave the 22 a hit in the door and then took the spot.
He gave and took.
That's 2023
Yeah.
give and take.
So we see Michael McDowell in the 34 tucking in behind the 24 of William Byron. 6-time winner already in this 2023 season.
Good looking paint scheme on the 24. I like the clean, all white with the bright 24 on the door. You see Brad Keselowski back here side by side with Truex, on board with Truex Jr. right here. Look in front, Jeff. You want any part of this?
Let's ride along with Truex. Look, this is the infield of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Look how tight it is. Look at the visibility. Brad Keselowski trying to make a move on Truex. Dirt, side by side. Look at this right-hander. You're going uphill. Who knew there were hills in Charlotte Motor Speedway? This corner right here, you cannot even see what's in front of you. You have no idea if they're wrecking. No idea if there's a problem.
This isn't the normal calm tree stand that Martin Truex Jr. will be sitting in on a October Sunday. Bass Pro Shops camera. This is chaos.
And up to speed they go. And again, up to almost 155 miles an hour before they'll go hard on the brakes.
Really nice work by the 19 to kind of gain a little spot back here. But then what do you do with the momentum, right? Try to cross over the 77 maybe?
See now Truex is on the inside. The question is, can Keselowski make a charge back to the inside of that 77 car.
Look at how high up the 19 went. So yeah, Brad Keselowski ducked back on the inside. Now Truex passing the 77 of Dillon.
That was a really nice set of corners by Truex right there. And it can be small things, Rick, right? Like, you know, one set of passes, it might only be 1 or 2 spots, but if it kind of leapfrogs you to the next group of cars.
He's a 5-time winner on road courses, so Martin Truex Jr. definitely established.
I sat down with James Small. Remember, this team won the regular season championships. I sat down with him at the end of the regular season. We talked a lot about the highs and lows, winless a year ago, missing the playoffs. He said it was really tough for the team. This is a team that's used to win. He wears lucky socks, if you could believe it. So he told me he had a brand new pair of lucky socks for the regular season. Well, I asked him last week, I said, man, how are the lucky socks? He goes, I threw that pair out too. They're not lucky anymore. I got a brand new pair. We're going to see if it's luckier this week at the ROVAL.
Well, how do you buy a brand new pair of lucky socks? I mean, do they say on them lucky socks?
No,
He's a Ted Lasso fan. These had goldfish.
Okay.
You wear them and something good happen, man. You don't just buy lucky socks. They got to prove it.
Maybe he's trying to make them lucky.
Want to take a look at the restart and the 20 and 99. There was some contact made. Jeff, you pointed it out.
Yeah, this is just, you know, you're restarting in a corner. See right here, contact right there. And that's just because Suarez was trying to go to the throttle, spun the rear tires, car went to the side. Watch and listen. Hear that? He went to the throttle, spun the rear tires, car turned to the right, jumped back out of the throttle. How many restart zones are you turning the car?
Yeah, that hard.
Unloads the rear tires and makes it where it's hard to get rear grip.
That's right here, Kyle Larson and the 2 of Cindric.
Oh.
They're kind of side by side. Cindric comes over, squeezes the 5. Normal kind of beating and banging. That's just road course racing.
Oh, yeah. That's why we like coming here.
Right now, those 2 are running 14th and 15th. So Larson in 14th, Cindric in 15th.
And look who's right behind him, Tyler Reddick. I was really curious to see how far he could advance, and he's doing a masterful job. Up to 16th. That's +7 since the restart. You know, we didn't see that type of movement out of Larson earlier, so that tells me, Marty, this 45 has a really good car.
Well, Jeff promised those drivers who pitted would be aggressive, trying to get the 8th spot since Tyler Reddick restarted. There he goes past Austin Cindric. And Billy Scott told him one important thing, Steve. He said, unusually, a lot of those teams pitted very early before the end of stage 1. So in front of you are a lot of older tires than we would expect. So Steve, he sort of put his driver on the offensive before this stage even restarted, and Tyler Reddick has delivered.
Great information, right? Even if it's only 3 or 4 laps, we don't see a lot of tire fall off, but you know, in a field that's so close on lap time, any advantage you can take, you're going to want to take. And you see an 8 spot since the restart. Ross Chastain at +4. You compare that to Truex, who's still back at 24th. He really hasn't gone anywhere since the restart. He's really just been stuck in traffic.
Christopher Bell, after grabbing the lead at the end of stage 1, has been up front for 6 laps here in stage 2. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Bank of America Roval 400 from Charlotte, and look at the lead. It is heating up. Here comes Chase Elliott. He looks to the inside of Bell. Elliott now trying to take that top spot away.
He's got great forward momentum right here. Christopher Bell has a decision to make. Actually, he doesn't. Chase Elliott just powered by him.
Decision was made.
Yeah, I thought Bell could side draft him and slow him down and try to enter this corner next to him, but Chase was having none of it.
29 race winless streak currently for Chase Elliott, out for injury this year. Remember, broke a leg in a snowboarding incident earlier this year, but then let's not forget, also missed a race due to suspension after an issue in a race. So he's been out for 6 races this year for an injury, 1 because of suspension. The crowds love it when you see Chase Elliott leading, NASCAR's most popular driver.
7 times he's won on road courses, twice here, you mentioned that earlier. But Chase Elliott, he has become the best road course racer in the field.
He had and he hadn't. So he has won 7 times, but that was pre-next gen car. So while he has run well in the next gen car, they haven't resulted in wins. Good runs, top 5s, top 6s. So if you want to vote against him, you would say he's not winning. If you're a Chase Elliott fan, you'll say, yeah, but he's running inside the top 5. There's really 2 arguments to that. This is back to the 9 car we kind of remember, though, leading laps.
So what strategy does he do to win here? Now he's out front, but you know he's either going to pit before the end of the stage, or he's going to maybe go to when his last stop has to be made.
I think for the 9 car, you just pit right before the end of the stage, about 2 laps before you see Suarez kind of get shuffled out of line right here, and you see the momentum. It hurts. As we go on board with the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Can, you see those 3 cars in front pulling away. The 54 and that Interstate Batteries paint scheme that made so famous there at Joe Gibbs Racing.
By the guy in front of him.
Right. Yeah. I was trying to make that connection, Rick. You got there.
You know, Kyle Busch, we talked about it at the start of the race, needs to win this race. He's right in position. They've done what they need to do to this point. Obviously, a lot of work to do yet, but done a great job so far.
Dave, we're looking back off of Allmendinger's onboard, the Celsius onboard, and Kyle Busch, who's currently running in that 4th position.
Yep, getting a little aggressive there. You saw him almost make the move on Allmendinger going into the backstretch chicane. And that was after a period of patience. He had made a couple of aggressive moves, but then he was asked by crew chief Randall Burnett to kind of back it down a little bit. When you're patient, we are fast. He did that, but when the opportunity came up, he saw the open door and he took it back. Restarted 4th there, holds 4th now.
A little bit of action on the back straightaway. See, Kevin Harvick has the tires locked completely up, trying to get into that rear chicane. Did it right, served a penalty, came to a complete stop. He did come to pit road to put tires on it. A little bit of contact there with Truex and Harrison.
Watching from the onboard of Martin Truex Jr., he kicks out there into the 21 of Harrison Burton.
Shows you just how slick that is. Like, that's not very hard contact, but that infield section is just so slick.
Gibbs in the 54, now around the 8 of Kyle Busch. And so Gibbs, who's still searching for that first win in this rookie season, is running up in the 4th position. Kyle Larson, again after starting in a backup car at the back of the field. Marty, he's up to 15th now. Is this strategy working for him?
Plus 21. It's been a solid day for the 5 teams so far. I'll let Cliff Daniels answer that question. Is he happy with where they are in 15th right now? Listen in.
I think the way this stage is going to play out, we'll be in an okay points position. Obviously, with his fresher tires, it'll be good to follow him right on up through there. You're better than all those guys ahead of you.
And that was when he was trying to follow Tyler Reddick. So they're thinking maybe get some stage points here in this stage. But I would say, Steve, from the back of the field to 15th, now maybe 14th, if he can get around Ryan Blaney. That's a pretty good day so far for Cliff Daniels in the 5 team. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, so far it's a great day. The concern for the Roval is that final stage is 59 laps, and we have seen absolute chaos. We've seen Larson on both sides of it. One time he's come around here with both fenders smashed off, going off the wall in video game fashion to advance. Other times we saw him hit the wall and be eliminated here at the Roval. So far so good, but still a long ways from the finish.
And Steve, these road courses turn into you're scratching your head saying, what strategy is this guy on and what strategy is that guy on? We all saw Tyler Reddick go out there and win the first stage. Well, Tyler Reddick now is running in the 11th position. Does he pit now before the end of stage 2? Does he stay out and try to get more stage points? Where does that strategy work for Tyler Reddick?
Well, if I'm crew chiefing the 45 car, I'm going to stay out and try to get stage points, because when I look at the running order, I expect Chase Elliott to probably pit before Allmendinger, Gibbs, Suarez, Logano, Byron, McDowell. So I think Reddick is going to be able to finish probably in the top 2 or 3. So you look on top of the pit box right there, Billy Scott making the calls, and 10 points in stage 1. I think they could stay out and probably score another 6 or 7 stage points here. Remember, they came in just below. So what looked like, I won't say a must win, but you have to have a good day. It is a good day. If they can score, 15, 16 stage points, that's a monster day, Marty.
Boy, and see, Billy Scott literally just said that to Tyler Reddick 2 minutes ago. He said, we're in 11th right now. Almost everyone you see in front of you is going to flip this stage. We're going to stay with the same script. So they're going to go stage points this time. And look who's sitting right behind Billy Scott. None other than Michael Jordan, the boss man, watching over his driver trying to make it to the next round. That's Tyler Reddick.
So I don't know if Michael Jordan needs to carry his NASCAR hard card, but if he does, it's getting a lot of use. Because MJ comes to a lot of races. It's great to see him here supporting his team.
Yeah, he's been supporting not only Reddick, but also Bubba Wallace a lot. Elliott, though, out front here at the Roval. NASCAR Drive is your live race day companion. Follow your favorite drivers with access to their in-car cameras, and then you can even choose some alternate camera angles. You can customize actually your entire streaming experience. Visit NASCAR.com/drive. You can download the NASCAR mobile app to watch all of the action, and the fans are enjoying it. The Bank of America Fan Cam. Fans have been coming here since 1960 and enjoying racing here, either on the oval or the Roval. The past 6 years now, 6th race for the Roval. And Dave, Ryan Blaney we just saw on pit road again.
Yep, Rick, he started the cycle of pit stops again, did the driver of the 12 car. He wasn't real happy about the way it was handling.
I don't know about Mars, there's a tire deficit, but I have no turn, no drive. Everything is just bad.
That's a lot of no's and a bad. They put a little bit of air pressure changes around all 4 tires there and sent him back out.
I think one thing is that this 12 car, he had the oldest tires in the field for sure. Tires matter today. It is a big difference between having, 5 lap less, 6 lap less tires. Your car's going to drive a lot better. He was racing people with better tires, and I think it's just hard to overcome that. Let's don't sleep, guys. On here's Kyle Busch pitting.
And some of those trying to flip the stage are coming early, Dave.
Rick having a great run in the top 5, looking like a car that could contend later on today. Strategy here, come now and flip this stage. 4 Goodyear tires, air pressure adjustment, Kim.
William Byron already locked into the next stage. His biggest complaint here today, he said the rear swings way too much, meaning too loose on that condition. 4 fresh Goodyear tires with an air pressure adjustment. Sunoco fuel, as you see Brad Keselowski on the bottom of your screen, electing to pit right now. They weren't in position to get points that were going to help them move on to the next stage. So their focus, do what they can to try and position themselves to win this race. 4 tires, fuel for Brad Keselowski.
And I told you earlier that I would remind you, before the end of stage 2, you got to make sure to make your fantasy changes. Get that guy out of the garage if you know he's not going to finish ahead of one of the 5 that you've got starting.
It would have been good if you'd
ever told me that.
Yeah, or it would have been good if you'd reminded me to put a rundown in earlier today. I really appreciate that, Rick.
Chase Elliott's dominating this race right now, but behind him in 2nd and 3rd, A.J. Allmendinger, who we all know is a great road racer, dominated the ROVAL in the Xfinity Series. And then behind him, Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has been knocking on the door. Both of them coming to pit road right now. Do not sleep on these guys. Either one of these guys can win today.
So Allmendinger and Gibbs on pit road. Suarez was on pit road as well. Kim.
AJ said the car was better this run than the last run. He asked for a little bit more of the same. What is that? Rear lateral, the biggest issue for A.J. Allmendinger as that crew completes service. Your bottom left of the screen, Daniel Suarez, his biggest complaint has also been losing rear grip pretty quickly during the run, as they have a little bit slow stop there, Marty.
Ty Gibbs leaving pit road, drag racing with A.J. Allmendinger down pit road. Talking to Chris Gale this morning, he felt like the ROVAL was maybe one of their best chances left this year to be able to get a win. He's showing that on the track, running top 5 all day long so far.
And we saw Ty Gibbs really chase Allmendinger to pit road, and he was able to pass him through the cycle. Very good pit work by the 54 pit crew. I know Joe Gibbs' pit crew has been definitely being focused. This is the old crew of Christopher Bell in the 20, and they show what they're worth. And Allmendinger's thinking, I'm going to come back and get you on these cold tires.
Rim to swap him.
Yeah, they have to think about this as the battle for the win. You really do. I mean, every position could matter. These guys, obviously, we talked about Chase Elliott dominating, but right now, if you're Ty Gibbs, you got to fight hard.
Care of our stuff or what?
Yeah, asking the question now.
If you can get a position, take it. If you can't get a position, you can take care of your stuff.
All right, so what they mean by that is we know that the stage is going to end in 5 laps. So if you can get a spot on the racetrack, let's do it. But you're going to have to run these tires for at least another 20, 25, 30 laps. So don't burn these rear tires up trying to pass somebody you're not going to get by. We're going to have another restart, a whole lot more opportunity. Just kind of settle in. You got a lot of room out behind you.
Again, riding along with Allmendinger after the pit stop. They came back out 20th. Ty Gibbs just in front of him in 19th. Gilliland came to pit road. That has dropped him back. And Bubba Wallace running in the 8th position. Listen into his radio.
Oh my God, fuel pressure. I'm stumbling. We have enough fuel, so you should be good.
So, so Bubba's talking about it stumbling, like he's not getting fuel to the engine. Very quick radio response back that we have enough fuel, you should be good. We'll have to just keep an eye on this 23 car, see if it's a mechanical issue or if they really are low on fuel.
You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Bank of America ROVAL 400 from Charlotte, and the 78 goes around. We saw the 9 of Chase Elliott. He was about ready to come to pit road. Pit road is now going to be closed because the caution has come out, and Chase Elliott crossed the start-finish line with 2 laps to go in the stage.
Well, Chase was coming to pit road, but you saw him dive back onto the racetrack just as we were returning, and that's because pit road closed. We saw that happen to Kevin Harvick a few weeks ago. You know, you can't pit on a closed pit road, and this is going to be an awful break for Chase Elliott. He's going to lose some track position. Let's see what happened to the 78.
Josh Bilicki just coming off of pit road, and just 7-car Corey LaJoie there. I don't know if Josh just didn't expect him to be there. Big contact car gets into the wall.
Looked like Corey maybe got in a little hot and got into him.
I think he was passing the 78, and now let's see the 9. He's allowed to hit this box, so he's good. He's definitely fine. He actually could drive over that box and return to the track with no penalty.
Let's go watch that again with, see, they're both coming off pit road. They both were coming off pit road at the same time, and I just don't think Josh Bilicki had any idea, and that was an aggressive move by Corey to leave pit road, drive it underneath Josh like that, and Josh, just you don't expect that leaving pit road. I'm not saying Corey did anything wrong.
I like the move. Take him while he's sleeping, right? Try to get ahead of the 78. And the lockup you're seeing, Rick, Jeff, do you think it's because he only has to slow the car so much to make the corner, but then when the 78's coming down, you're pushing the brake pedal even harder to trying to not wreck him?
Yeah, that's right. And we talk about it every single race. Every position matters. Every second matters. Corey just pushing hard on corner exit, and just Bilicki just not expecting him to be there.
And a bad break for Chase Elliott, who really needed to get to pit road. He's going to lose a lot of track position now through this cycle.
And that's because under caution, the stage is going to end. He'll end up winning the stage, but an issue gets him into bad strategy. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. And by Toyota. Let's go places. So the caution came out just before the end of stage 2, and they're going around under caution until the conclusion of this stage. Out front is Elliott. And Steve, explain why this is a bad situation for Chase Elliott to win this stage.
So Chase was trying to run as long as he can before pitting before the end of the stage. That's why he was coming with 2 to go as the leader. He has that opportunity. He wanted to come in and service his car. All the cars behind him in the running order, Bell, Hamlin, Reddick, Larson, Chastain, you know, they have playoff implications. They're going to try to stay out and get points. And really then Elliott would come back on the racetrack, probably in 8th or 9th. He was going to cycle pretty good. Then the caution for the end of the stage, when the other cars pit, he kind of reassumes the lead. He's looking really good. But now because he wasn't unable to come to pit road and service his car, good news is you win the stage. But the bad news is, you know, there are roughly 20 to 25 cars that have already serviced their vehicles. So they're going to stay on the racetrack. Chase Elliott is going to restart well outside the top 20. Now the same is going to be the same for Bell and Hamlin and Reddick. I actually think Kyle Busch, currently in 10th, is going to become the race leader through this cycle. The difference is all those playoff cars, they knew this bad break was coming, but their reward is at least a few points that they so desperately need to advance. Maybe not as much for Hamlin, who's in 3rd, who's already won, but for
and
Chase.
He, by the way, Hamlin has now
excuse me, I'd say already won. He had enough points to advance. I keep trying to want to give him a win. That's the second time today I'm trying to give him a win in this round.
He appreciates it. I do see there Chase Elliott winning the stage, Denny Hamlin clinching. I do think that this caution, we heard Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace both complaining about their cars stumbling, like they weren't getting fuel. And they thought they got them full, but maybe they didn't. And this caution may have saved them. It may, you know, you don't burn as much fuel under caution as you do under green. Them not having to burn that much fuel may have put them in a position to where they didn't have to pit under green and they were able to get stage points.
And with 59 laps to go in the race, regardless of where you're at, whether you're Chase Elliott or Kyle Busch, you pitted under green, you still have to make another pit stop to finish this race. Now, back to Jeff's point, you know, I'm a little concerned if I'm one of those 2311 cars. Why exactly were we stumbling? You know, if I don't really know, now, Jeff, am I picking up as much fuel as I thought I could? Or can I not be as aggressive? Because there's going to be this other green flag pit stop, and there's a lot of things we're going to talk about later and why you want to come early versus late. But that's assuming we can at least use all the fuel in the car. If you can't pick up all the fuel, Dave, then you might have to change your strategy.
And just checking in on the 17 of Chris Buescher, who has been to pit road, and his situation today and the way that crew chief Scott Graves described it to him. Remember, he started 19 points above the cut line coming into today. So Scott told me if we just run our normal road course day, we should be in good shape. Remember, they've been great on the road courses. Worst, 11th in 2023. That was at the Indianapolis road course. So already pitted, and he was told when it cycles out, you should have 4 to 6 lap fresher tires than those in front of you, Kim.
Bubba Wallace running in the 7th position, and we documented the issue he was having, saying that the car was stumbling. The team told him he had enough fuel. Here's what they're telling him to do right now.
And we do need to reset the ECU. But what you do, get your gap, get the roller oil, shut the main power off, ignition off, then turn the main power back on, fire it back up, and try to put it on pump 1. Okay, you want me to put it on pump 1 now or after I cycle power? Irrelevant, really.
So, Steve, you're hearing what the team is telling him to do. Does that make you more or less concerned for this car?
It doesn't change my concern, but basically the ECU, basically the electronic control unit, the engine control unit, he's going to get a gap, coast, shut it off. That's all power. This Toyota car, this Toyota onboard is going to be riding quietly. Then he's going to turn that back on and then go to just a singular pump in the fuel cell. There are split pumps. It's not a concern, but there must be something they're seeing in the diagnostics, Jeff, that they want to recycle that, which could be a good news if they think they have found their issue for the stumbling. And then here's the bad news for Chase Elliott that we documented, right? He didn't quite get the pit road, but we'll have to just keep an eye on these 2311 cars. Kim?
Yeah, the bad news for Chase Elliott, that strategy thwarted for this team. The good news is no major complaints on that Chevrolet. Seems to be okay with the balance throughout this race. 4 tires Sunoco fuel for Chase Elliott. Marty.
Christopher Bell told Adam Stevens, I don't know what to tell you, but I was not good that run for sure. The tires fell off way more than they did on the first run of the day. Opposite true for his teammate Denny Hamlin, and yes, the information was relayed to him. We have clinched into the round of 8. He said he was much better that run, and Tyler Reddick has earned the most points today. He needs a little bit more rear grip the later they go.
North Carolina, Charlotte, and more specifically Concord. And it's been 6 years they have been racing on the ROVAL here inside the walls of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and it has not been disappointing at all. So make sure to stick around for the third final stage. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Chewy. Shop at Chewy for everyday great prices on pet essentials. And by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? Fans continuing to enjoy a beautiful sunny day here at the Charlotte ROVAL. There are Busch fans in that crowd, and they're cheering on the fact that Kyle Busch is up front. The round of 8 is locked in for the NASCAR Powerball Playoff. Today at the track, the North Carolina Education Lottery is hosting its Powerball players who entered the national promotion. If you want to join the race to $1 million, visit Powerball.com for a list of participating lotteries. And be sure to watch the $1 million drawing live from Victory Lane at NASCAR Championship Weekend on November 5th right here on NBC. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR. And so, 57 laps to go. Kyle Busch is out front. Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger, William Byron, Joey Logano, all will be restarting in the top 5. Blaney, Buscher, Suarez, Bowman, and Cindric in the top 10.
So let's go back and see where Chase Elliott, who was leading when all of this started, let's see where he is. There he is. That's 26th. From the lead to 26th, and behind him, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Chastain, Wallace, Larson. Truex is 32nd. Denny Hamlin, 33rd. They have a long way to go. Hamlin's locked in. He's good. Truex and his team have done a really good job gaining points today, but still, they have a lot of work to do. And when you start this far back at this racetrack, it is easy to get caught up in somebody else's mess.
The choose taking place right now, and so people deciding either inside or outside lane. And now we will tell you that from this point forward, every position is a point. And so when you see as they run the points for these playoff drivers, you know that they have to either pass someone to gain points, or the person that they're racing, that they're trying to catch, if they lose positions, they're going to be gaining points there as well. But right now, as they're running, Kyle Busch, who came in the 12th position as far as playoffs, is leading this race, so he's going to be shown in as the leader. He's currently 4th on that list. Marty?
Hey, Rick, real quick, let's check on the Indianapolis winner, Michael McDowell. This was the team trying to make repairs on the power steering, which has been gone for about 20 laps for Michael McDowell. They could not find out what was wrong with it. Jeff, I cannot imagine the Roval and the high banks with no power steering. That's what Michael McDowell has for the next 57 laps.
Yeah, he's going to have his hands full. It's almost impossible to turn these cars.
And the start of stage 3, the final stage here at the ROVAL to find out who makes it into the round of 8. Busch and Gibbs, door to door. Green flag back in the air. Busch easily clearing Gibbs. Here comes Allmendinger, side by side for second. Allmendinger, a great move on the outside of Gibbs. He takes that second spot.
That was big right there. We saw Busch beat Allmendinger off pit road. Allmendinger got it back on the racetrack.
Here comes William Byron, also working that high line. We'll see if it works for him. Trying to get by Logano, and Logano's going to give up the spot. Buescher has to check up.
Yeah, Buescher checked up big time. Logano went to the bottom. You saw Buescher get on the brakes, actually blocked the left front up. Now he's trying to attack Logano.
Two car lengths separating the top two, but a little bit of chaotic moment there for Corey LaJoie in the 7. Cars all around him trying to negotiate for position. Ryan Preece of the 41 was just outside of him. Steve, fuel window. How far can they go?
So they can safely go 35, 36-ish, 37-ish laps. So some guys might try to stretch it to 40. So with 55 to go, I would say the final window, or at least the stretch of the final window, opens with about 39 to go. I expect to see most of the cars on pit road around 35 to go. Allmendinger, you called it, Jeff. This 16 car has some pace. He is pressuring the 8.
And we knew this was going to be an issue. Playoff drivers fighting for their championship hopes with non-playoff drivers. Allmendinger, one of those non-playoff drivers that could jeopardize Kyle Busch advancing.
Wow, listen to those RPMs in that 16 car. Allmendinger not shifting to that part of the racetrack. Allmendinger's a great road racer. One of the things that makes him great is the ability to brake. Typically, he can drive in the corner deeper than others. That allows him to pass and make time. And Kyle Busch knows that. That means Kyle Busch is going to have to step up his entry speed and try to keep Allmendinger behind him.
Watch this braking zone. Watch the driver down at the bottom. Look how much work he has. This off kind of angle. Okay, I take it back. Everyone else in the field looks like they're working real hard. Allmendinger made it look like he was going to pick up some groceries.
But how about how hard they hit those curbs? Car comes completely off the ground. It's very rough ride in these cars.
It's funny you say how good Allmendinger is in the rough ride of the cars, because when I watch AJ down there, now he's busy, don't get me wrong, but he just looks, I don't know, Rick, like just way more in control.
Yeah.
You go into some other cars, they seem to be doing everything quicker, like in more of a hurry, not a panic, but definitely a little bit more deliberate. Oh boy, I thought there was going to be contact there.
Really close, all to the back bumper of Kyle Busch. Allmendinger continuing to put the pressure on Busch.
Oh, Busch got a good exit there, though. That'll take some pressure off into the braking zone. Kim.
And not only does AJ have the skill set to win here at the ROVAL, we've seen him do it 4 times in the Xfinity Series. He feels like he has the car to do it. He was very complimentary of the speed they had in the car this morning before we went green. And then I asked him how he was going to race the playoff drivers like Kyle Busch. AJ said winning is the only thing that matters with how their year has gone. He said he is not going to lie down for those playoff drivers, Dave.
And speaking of the car, Kim, the driver leading right now, Kyle Busch, he's got confidence in this car and this program because of what the former driver, Tyler Reddick, did with it. Crew Chief Randall Burnett was telling me that of all the things Kyle had to learn, this was one program he was very confident he could be good at. Remember, Tyler was on the pole and led the most laps so far today. Kyle Busch has acclimated himself very well to the road course program at Richard Childress Racing.
Kyle Busch, one of our sport's best drivers, I would say, in its history. And he's going to need every bit of it. There's a lot of racing to go in this race. He's going to need a win. And we're going to have to see Kyle Busch at his very best to pull this off. Allmendinger's a little bit quicker right now. He's doing a great job of holding him off, but I don't know that he can do it for this amount of time.
Well, Jeff, remember what Kyle told us? He sat down with most of the drivers when the playoffs started, and he said, look, I don't think anything will compare to your first championship, so I'm not willing to make that statement. He did that after coming back from injury. There were a lot of stories that year. But he said bringing a championship to a new organization, and specifically Richard Childress Racing, somebody who has been in this series for so long, if I'm able to pull that off, that will be the highlight of my career. And that is saying a lot from a guy that has had such a historic career, a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion, when he's eligible. So just, I mean, it says a lot about what he is. It is going to take all he has. And look at the 9 on the bottom. If you could pick him out, he's right there kind of in the middle of the field. Blue hood, white door, trying to work his way back up.
Yeah, and remember, he won stage 2, and now back in that hornet's nest, running in the 19th position is Chase Elliott as the fight for the lead continues. And you mentioned Kyle Busch and, you know, kind of his legacy, what he is going to leave from this sport as they're 3 wide through 1.
Yeah, you can see that. Todd Gilliland in that blue and white car. Looked like he may have got moved out of the way.
Here comes Allmendinger again. But Kyle Busch said, you know, coming from the organization of Joe Gibbs to where Richard Childress Racing was when I entered the organization, he goes, if I could bring them a championship, it would be huge. But right now, he's got his hands full. Allmendinger to the inside for the lead.
Just you and him still there.
What does Kyle Busch do right here? Does he concede the spot, or does he take the fight to Allmendinger? A little bit of contact there. Kyle Busch concedes the spot.
Still there, clear in line.
Just says, hey, you're faster than I am right now. I'm going to keep working on my car. I'm not going to quit. But right now, I just can't hold you off. And that's what it felt like to me as well. And a major change in the points.
The second that he got past, Busch went all the way to the bottom of the list now on the lower left of your screen. So Busch fighting to get back up front.
So now if I'm the crew chief, oh, contact, the 8 gets into the wall right there. That's what I was just getting ready to say. If I was a crew chief of the 8, I'd say, Kyle, we have another pit stop. So stay close. Tell me what you need. Where's the 16 better? Why is the 16 better? There's Randall Burnett right there. I love talking to Randall. So calm. Had so much success with Tyler Reddick. I wasn't sure if he would follow him with 2311. He chose to stay at RCR and had the opportunity to work with Kyle. And, man, what a great combination. Right away, they found success.
Yeah, they really did. And by the way, don't look now. William Byron, he is starting to bring some pressure to the 8 car. William, we already know he's locked in the next round of playoffs, but winning gives you more playoff points. So that's really important to William Byron. It's not just about the importance of winning the race. It's also adding to that advantage that he has trying to win a championship.
It's been a rough race up to this point as we see Martin Truex Jr. going over the bumps here as far as the curbing. Take a look at this. Airborne.
Truex just saying, hey, I got to go. You know, I need to get in front of you. I'm going to just drive it in here, jump the curb, and I'm not giving you a chance, right? And that's risky. That is risky. And here's Kyle Busch trying to make some pace. A little bit of contact. That's just a kiss, no problem.
You know, it's not, I agree with you, Jeff, it's not a problem, but the concern is that toe link. How many times do you keep hitting it until finally it breaks? You see the 19. I like this out of the 19.
He's charging.
He's only 8 above. Keselowski is positions above, running 10th. So there's points available for Keselowski. I like the fact that the 19 is pushing. He knows he has to survive. This is a regular season champ who barely edged his way out of the first round. And here they are, single digits again. This is not what they had tramped up when they entered the playoffs.
Bell on the outside, now going by Harrison Burton. McDowell is going to put his sights on him as well. Allmendinger out front here at the ROVAL. get ready to turn heads in the 2024 Ford Mustang GT Premium Fastback with Performance Package. Scan the QR code now, or you can visit NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo to enter for your chance to win. Now just 48 laps to go, and you see the 4 drivers that are currently out. They've got to make something happen. Kyle Busch, remember, 12th in points. He's running second right now, so he has to win if he wants to advance. And really, that's what a lot of these guys are falling into, that must-win situation. Ross Chastain is probably in it now as well.
So that's the point, right? So you talk about Kyle Busch. He's running second, still 22 points behind. Bubba Wallace, though, he's back at 23rd, 17 points. It's a long shot, but there are points available. Brad Keselowski, though, he's running 10th, still 8 points behind. So he's probably in the worst position next to Kyle Busch. Ross Chastain and Bubba, I mean, it's not must-win situation, but if the cars they're racing, namely Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr., continue to have decent days, Truex kind of having an average day at the moment, if they continue to run, this is going to be a challenge.
Kim.
And when I talked to owner Justin Marks about Ross and his approach this week, he said Ross very much knows what's at stake. He was in the sim 3 times this week, including late yesterday afternoon, to just try and make sure he knew exactly what marks he had to hit here at the ROVAL. Right now, though, just battling the rear of that race car. Every run, the rears go away too quickly for Ross Chastain to be able to do anything with that car.
And currently the biggest switch that's taken place from when they started this race is that Tyler Reddick is now above the cut line, and he's 10 points above, and Brad Keselowski is below it. So Brad Keselowski entered 2 points above at the start of this race, and now he is below. And Steve, you just pointed to the points earned today. As far as stage finishes, Tyler Reddick earned 17 points today, and that is why right now he is 10 points above that cut line.
And even running in 15th with 47 to go, Tyler Reddick is still my pick. When I look at cars that have pace, that can pass, that can adapt, Tyler Reddick has been kind of on the short end of track position ever since he sat on the pole, you know, because he tried to score points. And from that, he has moved up so much that I really think Tyler Reddick is still the guy. Even though back in 15th, there he is right here with a pit stop to go. I like everything I see out of this 45, Marty.
Steve, we just talked about the 4 drivers below the cut line right now. How about the driver just above it? That is Kyle Larson. And you think these crew chiefs are not constantly doing math on the scenarios to advance? Here's Cliff Daniels a moment ago to Larson.
Basically, if any of the cars that are below the cut line right now win, the very worst case scenario for us, ultimate worst case scenario would be that we would have to finish 5th or better to guarantee transfer. Obviously, that's going to depend on what everybody else does. We're just going to execute from here and be in really good shape.
So, Steve, take me on top of the pit box. What is this final stage, 46 to go, in a cut race in the round of 12, like for a crew chief? When you're on the bubble like Cliff Daniels, I'm sure the math is constant, but what is it like up there?
Well, the math is constant, and the concern, you know, right now he's pretty calm because he's running onto green. He has to make one more green flag pit stop if we need fuel. The real nerves, Rick, set in when we have a caution with 15 to go or 12 to go or 10 to go. Do you pit? Do you take tires? You know, we're talking about 1 point moving here or there because the field's spread out. We've only had the 2 stage cautions. But if we get a yellow in the last 25 laps of this race, is Jeff, what do you love to say, right? It all comes down to the restarts. Well, how about your playoff hopes? It never feels good when your entire playoff hopes come down to a restart.
Yeah, especially here, because we have seen time and time again how wild restarts get. Driving into turn 1, multiple wrecks, and yeah, you could be doing great, getting points, and then end up on the hook in the garage.
And again, Larson above the line right now by 9 points. Each position is a point. So Keselowski would have to pass 9 people to get up in front of Larson. Well, right now, Keselowski's running in the 10th spot. So more or less he would have to be leading this race to gain all those points.
That information that Cliff Daniels gave Kyle Larson, that sets his tempo, right? How hard do I need to be pushing here? How aggressive do I need to be? And Larson, with that information, is, hey, I can be cool. I don't have to panic. We're doing what we need to do. I thought that was really good information.
A couple drivers here running nose to tail. Christopher Bell, Martin Truex Jr., both behind the wheel of a Toyota. I want to take a look at the Toyota driver update. And you see Gibbs running in the 4th position, name in white because he's not a part of the playoffs. Running the best right now, the Toyotas. Reddick 14th, Wallace 24th, Bell 25th, and Trix Jr. in 26th. And even a little further back than them is Hamlin, who's running in 28th. But we know that Hamlin has gained enough points through the first 2 stages that he cannot be caught and cannot be eliminated. So he has already advanced to the round of 8. So now 3 of them, Byron, Blaney, and Hamlin, have advanced. Allmendinger's up front trying to win here at the ROVAL.
Stop under green for playoff driver Brad Keselowski. They call 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel here on pit road.
42 to go, Rick.
Is this a Hail Mary?
You know, I think it's a little bit further than they could go, but at this point, they need something to go their way. So, yeah, a little bit of a Hail Mary. You get a yellow right now. The rest of the field's going to pit, and he can stay out. We also saw the 9 of Chase Elliott pit. We're hearing that he might have thought he had a tire going down. He was a lap before. You know, we thought they could go 37. This is 42. I mean, that's a long ways at a road course, but you just never know with yellows. And I also have learned that when they tell me they could go 37, that's probably really 39. They're kind of fudging a little bit so I don't give away their poker hand on TV.
Okay, so we've been talking about how do you get to victory lane. Well, let's take a look at the keys to victory lane, brought to you by Ruoff Mortgage.
Well, when is the final pit stop? I mean, tires definitely have value. So if you pit kind of as soon as you're inside the window, Jeff, you're going to have to run way, way, way longer. But if you get a caution, it's kind of like hitting the lotto. You move up.
Yeah, what are turtles? What are we going to be scared of those? These big blue things on the racetrack right there on your right side. You hit those things, it actually connects to the don't wreck. If you hit those, you're probably going to be in a wreck.
Yeah, and don't wreck would go for every week, but it's really a situational don't wreck. As you see Bubba Wallace right here. I wouldn't want to see 3 wide in the first stage of this race, but at this point, he's on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff points. Currently 16 out. It's time to go. You're going to have to put some fenders, some elbows, some pushing, some shoving.
That's why I said don't wreck. Look at this mess. I mean, this is not, if you're Christopher Bell, this isn't what you want to see. 2 wide, a lot of racing, a lot of banging, a lot of shoving.
Todd, Gilliland in that white with a blue rear bumper right here. He got stuff going everywhere.
51.
That was a good little move for the 20 of Bell. I didn't know if he was clear when we were on board. I think he just kind of run the 34 to the grass.
Yeah, McDowell in the 34 and Hamlin wide there. Looked like he was going to try to get by McDowell.
That pink car behind him, the 38. When I mentioned Todd Gilliland, he's back in that 51. The 38, which he runs normally, Zane Smith was in. There you go, right up front. You see looking out the window, too wide in front. Oh, that's a nice move by Hamlin, right? Showed him the bumper, crossed him over, tried to get in position. Now you would think Truex is going to try to want to follow the 11 in. Bell back here is still in a bar fight.
This mess still continues. Todd Gilliland doing a really good job keeping these guys behind him, fighting hard. That's what you got to do. I know these guys are in a playoff battle, but this track's open for you too. You just got to keep the fight up.
Jeff, these guys are all so good. They make this track look easier than it is. You and I have been around here multiple times. It is narrow, it is slippery, blind, there's elevation. It just amazes me every time we go to a road course. I mean, look, this type of racing happens for the whole race, and yet still only 2 yellows.
Yeah, it's one thing to drive around here by yourself in the middle of this chaos. I mean, it is just so aggressive.
Inside of 40 laps to go, and the fight still between the 34 and 11. Hamlin trying to clear, and McDowell fighting back on the inside. While McDowell's going to the inside, Martin Truex Jr. has decided he will follow that line as well. Dave?
Kyle Busch onto pit road now. Very good at getting on pit road, maximizing his time there. The crew very fast as well. 4 Goodyear tires for him. They had him back it down just a little bit, saving that car to get to this point. No real changes for him. Kyle likes the car.
There we go. Teammates side by side. Truex is trying to get all he can get right here.
Steve, the other thing that's extremely important is you mentioned what the fuel window was.
Whoa.
They've got to get it full as the 34 got sideways, and round goes the 11. Denny Hamlin avoiding.
Remember, McDowell is having a power steering issue. Marty reported that. And I'm sure that had something to do with what we just watched.
Oh, when you get crossed up with no power steering, I mean, I'm not sure there's a driver in the field strong enough. I'm not sure these 3 are done. Hold on, let's see.
McDowell's got a problem. He's got a tire down or something.
Yeah, McDowell struggling.
Problems here, big time.
Left front, maybe? Left rear? Yeah,
left front's down.
Left front is flat on the 34. So now, right now, I'm coming under green. If I'm within a lap of my window, I'm pitting. In case this tire comes off the wheel and brings out a yellow, and I say that as we see the field coming around, what crew chief will react? What crew chief will think, this is it? Here you go, 16 on pit road. Second place car, come to pit road. Third, fourth, fifth,
everybody.
Sixth. Everybody right now. If this tire comes off, this is the yellow. You have to risk it, even if you're outside your window. Kim.
And they had actually told AJ before that incident that he was coming down this lap. AJ Allmendinger saying he needs more rear grip. They will make a slight air pressure adjustment on that car. They did warn him this is going to be the longest green flag run if it stays green, so protect those rear tires. Dave.
Oh, Chris Buescher just missed Corey LaJoie on pit road there. Nice dodge. He's got 4 fresh tires, Marty.
Ty Gibbs on pit road as well, still in the top 5, having a very nice run. Tyler Reddick said what he wants from the team is he wants a halfway adjustment on the last one that they just made. He said we lost too much grip on that run. Maybe the worst of 45 has been all day long, Dave.
Here comes Martin Truex Jr. has been bounced around a bit today in the 19 car, but the car has been getting better throughout the course of the day. It was too tight to too loose over the course of most runs, and they managed to make that car better, according to Truex.
And everybody that was forced to pit road thinking that a flat tire might bring a caution out, the 34 is on pit road now.
So now it's real simple. If I was a couple laps too early, I sit back, take a deep breath, and act really calm when I tell the driver that maybe we're a couple laps too early. Just save me a little gas. It's going to be okay. We had to come. Michael McDowell getting back around. You got to... I mean, if he has no power steering, what he's trying to do to finish this race, super impressive.
Yeah, it looked like there for a while he had speed. He had pace. He was racing. And then all of a sudden he started backing up. And I suspect he's having a problem. It comes and goes.
Taking a little more time with the stop, but filling up the fuel, 4 fresh Goodyears, and back out onto the racetrack Michael McDowell goes. Now the important thing here, Steve, and I was talking about it as all of that chaos was taking place, these guys have got to get this absolutely full because they've got to be able to get all the way to the end of this race.
Yeah, you have to jam it with as much Sunoco fuel as you can get, even wait for a second when the left side drops to get that last kind of air bubble out of the car. As now we see an issue with the one of Chastain barely getting in his pit box, Kim.
Yeah, but that is still a legal stop you're seeing right there. He said the rears went away a little more that run. I could use more launch. Again, that is the only tire that's allowed outside the box during a stop. So a legal stop for Ross Chastain, Marty.
And Kim, you got to wonder with the extra little bit of lap of fuel for Christopher Bell and for Chastain as well, and maybe 1 lap fresher tires, if that's going to play to their advantage is all. Bell said the car was much better on that run. Everyone leaving pit road, and I think 37 to go, well within their window, Steve, to make it to the end.
Well, at this point, it's going to be all about time on the racetrack. Kim did a great job explaining why this is legal, and this is why it happened, though. The 3 of Austin Dillon leaving, the 1 pulling around. So remember, the front of the car, even the splitter, can't touch. Man, that's really close to being a bigger issue. Can't touch the front line, but you as the team own the right rear. Kim explaining it, that's really well done. And this is what happened to 34, Jeff.
Yeah, this started all this chaos. McDowell right here hits the curbs hard, loses control, up in the wall. The 11 into the back of the 19 as the 19 tried to check up a little bit. This is the view Martin Truex had. He saw the problem. He's got to check up, and then Hamlin tries to keep from avoiding him, keep from hitting him, and around he goes.
Yeah, I wonder if the 38 might not even have gotten in the back of the 11, and then the beating and the banging continued.
That 38 just he's going through there, hot knife through butter. So Zane Smith said, hey, I'm going.
So through all of that chaos, A.J. Allmendinger running second, but will be the leader. As you see on the left side, Blaney is going to have to pit. He's running long, hoping for a yellow, I think, at this point, or just running long and putting the freshest tires on when he does come. Allmendinger stays in front of Busch, who's in front of Gibbs. Byron, Buescher, Logano should be roughly your top 5 after the pit stop.
Yeah, after that pit stop, we'll see how it shakes out and where Blaney will come back out on the track. caution is out, and Denny Hamlin, because the points he earned in stage 1 and stage 2 have guaranteed him a spot in the round of 8, but it looks like his day is definitely not getting any easier.
Blaney gets in, Hamlin gets in really deep, loses control, makes contact, spins. Here comes the 42 of Rockefeller. Boom, right there in the right rear, and that's what damages the 11 car. See, Denny's out of control. That contact, that's where the damage came from.
And so the caution has come out. That's beneficial for the 9 as we take another look here.
Now, let's be clear. That damage on the 11 car, that's what all these playoff guys are afraid of. That kind of problem, and you are done making points. And that happened to Denny Hamlin, but could happen to any one of these playoff drivers.
That's really the problem because, well, here is Blaney. He makes a little contact with the wall. To your point, Jeff, you know, Larson is 13 to the good, but running 14th, but there are still 35 cars on the lead lap, 36 cars in the lead lap. I'll assume 35. Hamlin will probably go down a lap now. So there are so many points to lose. And when you think about it, as super speedway coming to the line, you could lose them in the, you know, the tri-oval. Well, here at the ROVAL, you could have an issue on the backstretch, come into the checkered, not finish the race, give up 15 points.
Under caution at the ROVAL. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from your favorite tracks. All you have to do is search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free. You can start using today. Under caution for the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, Bank of America ROVAL 400 from Charlotte. We know Ryan Blaney's going to be coming to pit road, but Allmendinger on back. And we see a lot of fans here showing their support. A lot of those are Harrison Burton fans there, by the way. I saw that with the Wood brother, number 21. But there's Blaney on pit road, but a lot of guys are going to stay out here, I believe. Dave?
Talladega winner and advancer to the round of 8 last week, as you mentioned, and so he'll get 4 tires here. At least they'll have fresh tires, Kim.
And this caution fortuitous for Chase Elliott. He came down on lap 66 with what he thought was a flat right rear tire that was outside their fuel window, so they were going to have to stop under green if they didn't get a caution. Chase said he just needs clean air, Dave.
Martin Truex Jr. on pit road as well, finding his way back on after a tire change.
So for Truex, you know, we saw what just happened to the 11. He is in the back. It is going to be chaos. He's okay in points, but okay is not very comfortable.
Okay, definitely not very comfortable. They're working on the 11. They're going to try to get Denny back out there. He's on the damaged vehicle policy right now. 31 laps still remaining. I want to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. Alex Bowman was able to click a lap off, just over 102 mile/hour average on lap 73, making one trip around the circuit in 1 minute 21 seconds. All right, guys, so we've bunched the field back up again. 31 laps remaining when they get to the start-finish line. Martin Truex Jr., he is currently 2 points above the cut line as they run.
And this is what's in front of the 19 of Truex. Jeff, you like where Keselowski is. While there's points to lose, he's at least up here out of the mess.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski starting in 7th. A lot of positions that Truex can gain right here. But late race restarts, Rick. At the ROVAL, we've seen caution after caution. What's going to happen now?
A.J. Allmendinger in the 16, and he's into the gas first. Ty Gibbs in the 54. Now, a little contact made as they get into turn 1.
They're coming hard.
Gibbs with a great restart, still on the inside, trying to steal that lead.
Allmendinger's got to stay side by side with him right here. If he does, he cannot do it. He was not able to do it. Kyle Busch all the way back to 4th.
We see William Byron in the 24 up here again. Where did he come from? Well, he's run good at virtually every racetrack, and around they go behind him. Austin Dillon is one of those.
Yeah, Corey LaJoie in there.
We'll see if they're able to keep going. Martin Truex Jr. clears him. LaJoie hasn't been able to get it refired. Now he backs up. Austin Dillon still stopped.
And they can sit for a while. Remember, lap times, the field's all bunched up. Now side by side for the lead with the 16 of Allmendinger, the 54 of Gibbs as they head to the backstretch chicane.
Neither one of these will give. Neither one of these guys will give this spot up. This is for a race win.
Who outbreaks the other as they come into the backstretch chicane? Allmendinger takes the spot.
The fight's not over, though. Ty Gibbs trying to cross him over. Could not make it happen.
Kyle Busch is back to going, hit each other. Hit each other. I need to get back in this
Spin him.
race.
Get him out of the way. And Kyle Busch running in the 4th position. William Byron is 3rd. Allmendinger now on point again. Here comes that 54 of Gibbs. A strong run so far for Allmendinger and Gibbs, running 1 and 2. 30 laps to go.
Truex is slowly gaining points on the 6 as you see the bottom left, now 8 above Keselowski, who has lost a few spots on the restart. On board with Truex. There's still 3 wide in front of him. Oh, now they're going to wreck in front of him.
Eric Jones around and into the wall, and that'll bring the caution out. More contact.
Yeah, who is that? Is that McDowell?
Big hit there for McDowell.
Sorry.
Truex's heart rate has got to be high after that last 2 laps.
Please get me out of this mess.
Oh, man. McDowell, I never root for a guy to wreck, but after what he's been trying to do with no power steering, he's probably like, I think we should be done.
Yeah, big damage on the 43 car. Obviously damage on the 34.
I got oil pressure, and I got water pressure, so beat the hood down, let's go.
Oh, no, I take that back. He's ready to go some more. My man McDowell, he is exciting.
So you're saying there's a chance. Now let's go back and see what happened. Oh, 3 wide. That is just not going to work at this racetrack. It's just too narrow. Then he came right down in front of McDowell. McDowell had nowhere to go.
Look how close. McDowell is right behind the 19. I mean, if the 19's 1 car farther back, that could be the thing. And the same thing right here. We see the 7 get stacked up. It's bumper cars in the back. They get spun around. But look right there, that orange and black car. Look at the room in front of him. He's not going to drive into a wreck. He's the first guy out of the gas.
Here we go, riding along with him. This is what he's watching, and he's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Go to the inside, throttle up, get out of this mess.
Right. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
It's this racetrack. Every race we see this happen. Watch this, here's the second one he gets through. They're 3 wide right now. He's going, oh no, this is not a good idea. Get to the bottom, throttle, get mine, get mine. Those are split second decisions. You have to, think about it. It's not logical to say they're wrecking in front of me, I'm out of stand in the gas, right? But if he doesn't stand in the gas, he gets caught up, and those are instinctive decisions that race car drivers make.
The 11 is out as far as Denny Hamlin and that rear toe link that he had an issue with. You see the left front not turning for Eric Jones here in the 43.
I'm going to tell you, we keep showing the 19 of Truex sneaking through, but one driver we do not want to overlook is the 23 of Bubba Wallace. I know he's 10 points behind, but he's currently in 14th. And I think he has a top 5 car. I know it's been hard to see with all the strategy and the cycles, Jeff, because of the stage finishes, but you know, you have an issue with Truex or Larson. You kind of open that door. When you talk Wallace, Keselowski, I think Bubba can outrun Keselowski, so he can flip to the first car out now, and that's all Bubba needs to do. At this point, you're running 14th. We're not coming back on pit road. We need a little help, but we can't control that. We can only control where this 23 car runs. You know, so try to go out, run the 6, and see if you can get up inside the top 5.
And what are the chances that a playoff driver is not going to get in an incident? I mean, it's chaos out there. It's just, even if you don't cause it, it's very easy to get caught up in someone else's mess, and I'm sure that's what Martin Truex and his team are talking about.
As it sits right now, we're 8 to the good on the 6. That's for drivers only. I don't know what you mean, but whatever. Do the best I can is all I can do.
I love their communication.
I don't know what you mean, but whatever.
When I sat down with James and we talked about the socks, I said, hey, you know, we got through his lucky socks. I said, well, I got to ask you. Man, you guys have some pretty outrageous conversations on the radio. And he started laughing. He goes, you know, it's only what you guys point out. Martin and I have these conversations off the radio, and we think it's totally normal. And I said, look, it works for you, but you can't label it as normal. This is not a normal conversation. But they have so much confidence in one another, and it goes back to last year, getting through that winless season. It really kind of galvanized this team that they could stick together. They didn't point fingers when everything went wrong because Martin made mistakes, James made mistakes, they had bad luck, and kind of recovering is what made days like today, I think, at least a little smaller blip on the radar. It's just another day at the office for these two.
One of the greatest combination in our sports history, Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson, they didn't mince words either. I mean, things that you would hear Chad Knaus say, he was very aggressive to Jimmy. And look, you know, Mike Krzyzewski said it, you don't have time not to be honest. You're in the heat of the battle. You got to say it. You got to say it right now because things have to be addressed immediately in competition.
Our Duke man got it on the air.
I did.
We knew it was coming.
It took me 9 years, but I got it.
The quote has been given. So the caution comes out once again, meaning another restart here at the Charlotte ROVAL.
King of the road.
Well, get your popcorn ready. Sunday Night Football. Dak Prescott and the 3-1 Cowboys are going to visit Nick Bosa and the 4-0 San Francisco 49ers. Coverage starting with Football Night in America at 7 p.m. Eastern on NBC, Peacock, and Telemundo.
Christian McCaffrey, gonna run all over top of him.
Well, I'll tell you, if I could have drafted him in my fantasy football lineup, you'd be printing money.
You walk around Charlotte, and they're like, I don't know who that guy is. That's not who we had on the Panthers. Now he's out there in San Francisco, and he is a machine carrying the ball.
Yeah, we know him better now than we did then.
That's right, Marty.
So Martin Truex Jr. might not be very interested in a points update, but Kyle Larson is, and he asked Cliff Daniels a moment ago for that update.
What does this look like currently?
It's pretty tight between the 17, us, the 45, the 19, and the 6. So we're 2 spots above the cut by 6 points.
Kyle Larson in a very tenuous position right now, as you see on the left-hand side of your screen. Just plus 15, 28 to go.
Yeah, he didn't give him the full picture there. He said 6, which makes it a lot closer. He's actually 15 points above the cut line.
That's some crew chief math, I think, right there.
He's 6 points above the guy that's right on the cut line. But yeah, 15 point above Keselowski. Ready for the restart. 27 laps to go. Again, it's Allmendinger and Gibbs. They put on a great show. Green flag back in the air. Allmendinger, a lot better restart this time. 3 wide through turn 1.
Still 3 wide. Is this going to work? It didn't work a minute ago. The 99 of Suarez is on the way outside. I think he's going to have to give up the spot, and he does, but now he's 3 wide with Bubba Wallace and Larson.
Bubba didn't want to give him any ground there, but he has to, as Bubba Wallace fighting for every position. Again, every position is a point, and Wallace right now 9 points below the cut line.
Watch this battle as they come out of turn 7 and 8. This is heading to NASCAR 1. Big bump right here. Now they're on the banking, and now side-by-side action going into this rear chicane. Side-by-side in this rear chicane is iffy at best. 2 playoff drivers, Bell and Larson.
So Reddick says, oh, I'm going to try it 3 wide. If 2 doesn't work, I'm going to scoot by 3 wide.
Oh, Priest. Oh, Larson. Into the back of Priest there. Very tight. He's got the 20 of Christopher Bell right on his back bumper. And Bubba Wallace fighting on the outside as they come to the front stretch chicane.
I like this version of Bubba Wallace. Aggression, aggressive, inside the 20, trying to get the 5 also. They're going to bang.
Bell's going to try to take advantage of it, making it 3 wide.
And Larson now only 13 points above the cut line. How aggressive does Larson race these drivers?
Bubba Wallace says he's not sure if he's going to advance or not, but he's going to go down swinging. With every move he has, that was aggressive to get by both of those playoff drivers. And remember, going back to that math, the radio we heard of the 5 car, the 8 car is still running 3rd. That new winner moves that line, and then it is a battle between Larson and Truex.
Oh, contact again. It's just so aggressive back here.
Here comes Elliott, putting the bumper to the 1 of Chastain.
Left side now, left side.
Chase Elliott to the bottom of the racetrack. Chastain tucks in behind him.
Nice work there. Trying to get inside, he's there.
And again, side by side through the backstretch chicane, and Chastain takes the spot back.
The 45 of Tyler Reddick is back on the scene. I know he's only running 6, but this last lap, he gained 15 car lengths on Joey Logano. Huge pace out of the 45. Now looking to the inside of the 22. I think Reddick, he looks good on points. I think he wants to win. He wants to carry momentum into the round of 8.
And my question to you, Steve, is what are you telling him? Like, do you need him on full assault, or do you need him to recognize that he's good on points right now?
Looks like the 15 around.
See if the 15 can get going. He will. That might keep it green if he can get the car going in the right direction with the damage.
We're hoping he starts to turn it around.
I was gonna say,
Andy Lally going the wrong way right now.
I just don't think he can get the car swung back to the left.
It has some sort of damage.
Suspension damage, but we stay green. He's out of the line. Is he trying? Oh, he's trying to go behind the wall.
Yeah, it's well done by Andy Lally. I'm sure the spotter was letting him know there was no traffic coming. You see the right rear toe link broken. Now a battle between the 6 of Keselowski in that Castrol car on the bottom. Suarez up top. Here's what happened. Oh, Andy Lally, I don't know. It looks like he just lost control. Low grip there.
Just digging hard, pushing a little bit too hard. This battle rages on. Keselowski and Suarez.
Suarez in front of Keselowski now. As they run, Keselowski 15 points below, 12 points below for Wallace.
So back to Jeff's question about the 45. What do you do? What's
Cautions
the
come
approach
out.
as we see a yellow now on the track? So I really believe...
Cautions out, cautions out, cautions out.
Oh, the 15's on pit exit. So you are off pit road, rolling around to reblend on the racetrack.
kind of a tough spot there. I don't know that he could have really done anything different. He tried to get off the racetrack, but then there was really nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything wrong, just a bad set of circumstances.
So it's a good debate for Reddick. I mean, what do you do? Because you're running 6th, you're 18 to the good. If you break, wreck, crash, you could easily lose over 20 points and be eliminated. So the question is advancing the only goal? Is there momentum a goal? That's a truth question mark, because I think Tyler Reddick's going to have great speed at Las Vegas. He's going to be unbelievable
Right
at
now,
Miami.
we are
running the
5
top.
points up on the 5 in 20. He's running 15. We are 6 points up on the 19, running 22nd. We are obviously way more than that up on 18 or so up on those guys who are battling coming in. The only time we worry about the 5 and 19 is if the 8 car in front of you gets to the lead.
So there you go. That's all the information you need, and I believe that's the answer to your question. He now has the information. At some point, you can't overcoach. At some point, you have to give the information to your star and let him kind of go do what he does. That's what I would do for Tyler Reddick.
And his driver is the one we're talking about, and I'm talking about Denny Hamlin, who's now out of this race with Dave.
Yeah, Rick, and he walked from the infield care center. Denny, we saw the incident there that ultimately puts you out. And I thought about Truex in front of you right there. When you were trying to collect your car, were you thinking about your teammate?
I mean, not necessarily. No, it just, once we got back there, it's just so hard to pass, impossible. And so I just drove a corner. That was about it, really. But thanks for the whole Mavis team for bringing me a solid car we qualify with. And obviously, with the scenarios going on, it's like, you know, if you stay out for a stage, you just go back to the back, and you're never to be seen again. I guess maybe unless you're Tyler Reddick. He's going to the front.
And the good news is you advanced.
Yeah, we planned on it before we got here, but we've already shifted our focus to Vegas, and we'll see what we can do there.
All right, we'll see how he does and how his driver, Tyler Reddick, does at the rest of the race, Rick.
Confidence. That's the one thing I've been seeing out of Denny Hamlin this season, and especially since the start of the playoffs, confidence that he thinks this is his season.
I'm curious if anybody pits right here. You just heard Denny talking about the importance of track position. There's Keselowski.
I like Brad's call. He's on the outside looking in by 15 points. He was losing spots. Cam, I think his only option was to come get some fresh tires and see if he could get lucky going the other way.
Yeah, and there were a couple reasons for this. A, their last stop was lap 67. They were a little concerned about how much fuel they would have to get to the end. And then the second thing, Brad said it drives like he has a tire going down. It was just bottoming out. So they kind of left the decision up to them. They went back and forth. They used a code word. Ultimately came down to give him 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. But if there's a late race caution, now he's got the fresh tires. He can maybe leapfrog, get some track position if other cars come down on a later caution in the race.
I'm so glad they used that code word. So glad they used that code word.
back up.
.22 to go in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Bank of America ROVAL 400 from Charlotte. And we get to see it again. Allmendinger and Gibbs, the front row, getting ready for the restart. Cleaning the tires as they come into this front stretch chicane, and that first line is when they can launch. Allmendinger into the gas again, but another great restart by Gibbs. He's not able to stay to the inside as they go into one.
No, but I like the position of the 8 of Kyle Busch. If he can stay there, he'll be driver's right inside for turns 3 and 4. Can he stay to the inside of the 54? He is.
The 54 threw it into 3 hard, and there's contact. Kyle Busch got into the back of the 54. More contact made.
Kyle Busch has got to go, and he knows that he needs that track position into the back of the 54, the 24 into the back of the 8.
54 bottles him up there. 16 out to 5 car length lead as they go back onto the big track.
Tyler Reddick in that 45 purple car with Jumpman on the hood, taking a look at the 24 of William Byron. What a year for William Byron. Even races, he's already advanced, but here he is inside the top 5.
Oh, big contact there. Cindric's going to go around.
Cindric was having a good day. Bubba Wallace
missed the chicane. He came to a stop.
Keep digging straight. There you go.
That is a lot of spots he lost.
Yeah, so unfortunate for the 2. You mentioned it. We just talked about him under that yellow. Jeff having such a great day. Bubba Wallace, though, that was a huge loss of points.
Just roll through the front stretch here. Roll and stop on the bottom of the front.
So he did not stop in the rear chicane, so he can come back around to the front and stop here to serve his penalty. He was running 11th. That's going to drop him down to 31st, 32nd range. 3 wide. Oh!
Suarez turns into the back of the 2.
I think Suarez was trying to outbrake the guys he was racing and lost control of his car. Maybe slid the rear tires a little bit.
Yeah, because I don't think he turned left on purpose.
No. As you can see right there, see him sliding around? That's the problem. He locked the rear tires up, trying to outbrake everybody into that rear chicane.
Bubba Wallace is thinking he has no idea what hit him.
Yeah, Cindric's going the wrong way and didn't know what happened.
He rolled through. Bubba Wallace rolled through that backstretch chicane, but that's why he had to stop on the front stretch.
And I'd say that Bubba Wallace got extremely lucky in an unlucky situation that no one hit him and damaged that car.
Pitting this time.
There you have it. Bubba Wallace, they're telling him to come to pit road. He's running 31st. He's 11 seconds behind race leader Allmendinger.
Yeah, I can't believe those tires aren't flat spotted.
Another
brake
lock up in the front stretch.
Yeah, everybody got through, but it definitely didn't look good.
Kim.
And Steve, you were exactly right. The concern there that he flat spotted those tires during that spin. So elected to play it cautious, bring him down, change tires on that Toyota, and send it back out.
So now Allmendinger, 20 laps away from potentially his first victory in the Cup Series at the ROVAL. He's been dominant when it comes to the Xfinity Series here.
Yeah, think about, Kaulig has definitely had maybe a touch of an off year compared to last year at the Cup level. This would be a great highlight if they could go on to win. The whole organization, Matt Kaulig started in Xfinity, expanded now to 3 cars basically in Xfinity, 2 in Cup. Built that brand new building up in Welcome.
Allmendinger again behind the wheel of the 16, and we still don't know exactly what Allmendinger is going to do next year. He said, I'll be back with Kaulig, but we don't know if he's going to be at the Cup level or if he's going to go and race in Xfinity level again.
We don't, but I heard him this week in an interview. He said he would like to be back in Cup, but it really depends on what's best for Kaulig Racing. He is a company guy. He will do whatever they ask him to do. Wants to be in Cup, but loves the Xfinity Series as well.
Well, if you're Matt Kaulig and you want him back in Cup, If he wins this race, that'd be a good place to ask him. Right. Victory lane, he'd be like, hey, man, so about next year, let's see if we get that agreed upon.
Even if you don't want me back, if I keep winning, you're going to have it.
Well, so we talk about it. Let's complete the circle, right? So Justin Haley, the second call-in car, we know he's moving to Rick Ware, and Daniel Hemrick has been announced moving up from Xfinity to Cup. So we know they're going to have 2 Cup cars, one of them being Hemrick.
Again, up front is Allmendinger. Gibbs 1.6 seconds back, but still a lot of racing in front of us. 19 laps still to go here at the Roval. Busch in a must-win situation running 3rd. Byron running 4th. And Reddick in that 5th position. Allmendinger, 19 laps to go still here at the Roval. Problems again for the 6 of Brad Keselowski as he's coming out of turn 4 on the big track and coming into the front stretch chicane.
Brad trying to make a move on Chastain, loses control. Chastain, I know he had to serve a penalty here, but a great job by recognizing that Keselowski was in trouble, was going to get into the side of him, and he doesn't turn. He stays straight right there. That's incredible that he knew all that was happening. It didn't get spun. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him, but here he comes on pit road, Kim.
That's right, Ross Chastain down on pit road. They will change 4 tires. They'll check his wheel, put Sunoco fuel in it. So playoff driver Ross Chastain way below the cut line at this point.
So some of this might be because he locked up his tires. The other option, we saw Justin Allgaier try to do this yesterday in the Xfinity Series race. his only real hope is a win. So at this point, if you pit right now and put fresh tires on it, you get a caution in the next 2 or 3 laps, you could stay out. I don't think all the leaders would pit. Now, mind you, I said that yesterday, and every single one of them pitted. Oh man, there's
Suarez.
So if this brings out a yellow, there you go.
It does.
Now Ross Chastain will be able to stay out, and if some cars pit, he can advance forward. So we'll have to see how this works.
That's turn 8, and that is where Larson in practice yesterday got up into the wall, but now Suarez with a lot of damage to the rear of this car.
See what happened. Christopher Bell
got into the back.
Yeah, gets in there hot, gets into the back of Suarez. Suarez will not be happy with that.
Man, for a car that's advancing, not making enemies, moving into the next round, Christopher Bell might. I'm sure there's more to the story than what meets the eye, but that one looks pretty bad.
Right along with Christopher. He's quite a bit quicker. Racing for 11th position.
Big hit there for Suarez, the back of that car. Marty on pit road now.
Yeah, I'm sure Daniel Suarez is not going to be happy. Christopher Bell asked his spotter, Stevie Reeves, did we touch him? And Reeves said, yes, we did. And then after that, silence from Christopher Bell.
Yeah, look, I don't think Christopher Bell meant to do that, but he did do it, right? And you know, you said it. Like, you don't want to try to create enemies going into the playoffs. You know, racing happens sometimes. You're racing that close to each other, racing that hard, and somebody makes contact. It's part of NASCAR racing.
So now the question is, what do you do? We talked about the stress of trying to move forward. Now, that's been aided a little bit because if you look at the points, there's a big gap. But right now, you see the last time everybody was on pit road, lap 71, so well over 20 laps on the tires, about 18 green flag, actually. So who pits? I don't expect Allmendinger or Gibbs to pit. Busch is in pretty good track position needing to win, but who else comes to pit road or who else stays out?
Busch is a really interesting conversation for me because I don't think he has the pace to beat these two guys in front of him, but if he does pit and they don't, then he probably doesn't have a shot. Maybe
unless he brings everybody with him.
Correct. How do you part of it is maybe those two get together, and there I am sitting in position. It's just hard to give up this track position, but in my opinion, he doesn't have the speed that he needs to beat the two in front of him.
If I'm Randall Burnett right now, I'm having that specific conversation. Kyle, can we beat them? Do we have the speed? And if the answer is an obvious no, then I ask him, is our only option fresh tires? And I have that, listen, we pit, show your hand real early, no code words, try to get everybody to follow us. And maybe we can line up with tires. There's 15 to go. We saw Christopher Bell last year on fresher tires move back up through the field. I don't think you can do it from 20th, but you might be able to do it from 6th or 8th.
What about how hungry right now Ty Gibbs is for a win, and he sees one right here in front of him? The 21-year-old just hasn't finished the races yet. Could this be one where he says, hey, I've got this one right in front of me, I'm going to get aggressive?
I'm not as worried about that. It's really about the decision on what you do. Now, the opposite side, if the 16 brings everybody to pit road, then the 8 might choose to stay on the racetrack. I don't think this is an automatic decision. I think you really have to consider tires, but it's going to be split. I don't believe this is going to be a full field pit. It's going to be a split decision. There's just too much on the stake and too many agendas. No takers early. See, nobody's going to come up front. So now someone back here is going to say, hey, I need tires. Look at track position. I mean, not even the 9 of Chase Elliott's going to come. This just tells you how tough the people think it is to pass. It's all the way back. Yeah, Harrison Burton, which I love that call for Harrison running 20th. I mean, that's an absolute no-brainer to me. I really thought we would see more cars like Brad Keselowski come and try to get tires.
And Brad Keselowski making his way down pit road. They said do what the others don't. So we saw the first half of the field stay out. They electing to come down. It should be the call for fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for Brad Keselowski.
Another restarts in front of these drivers. Allmendinger and Gibbs once again. Vampire Bite. 13 laps to decide who will advance for the round of 8. Again, 4 drivers. The bottom 4 in points are eliminated after this race, at least for their championship hopes. It's Allmendinger and Gibbs. Now Allmendinger, who's going to be on the outside in turn 1. Is this the right decision? He's made this decision each time for the restart.
Go.
Oh, contact there from Kyle Busch, but he's able to clear and moves up to second now.
What a move.
Now you talk about aggression. I think the aggression level for Kyle Busch will be much higher than that of the 54.
William Byron also fighting for a position with Ty Gibbs, that 3rd spot. Allmendinger, is he driving scared out there, knowing what Kyle Busch will have to do if he gets to his back bumper? And problems for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Fire underneath the right front.
Yeah, big fire underneath the right side of this car. Let's get Ricky out of that thing. Full of smoke.
Yeah, we're not seeing him come out of the car yet, but that thing, there he is.
There you go. He's getting out.
Look at all the fire inside the car.
Flames inside of the car as Stenhouse Jr. is out now. But a huge fire for Stenhouse.
Yeah, scary situation. I can't tell if it's one of those in the rocker panel behind the right front tire, but engulfed is the 47. Kim.
And a little earlier in the race, Ricky did say that the car felt like it was full of smoke, but it subsided. So he did say when he was running harder, the smoke got worse. They worked on it on pit road. It hadn't been an issue since. Now we're seeing this major issue. So I'm not sure if that would have indicated what the problem was. Steve, if you were hearing earlier that the smoke was getting worse when it was running harder, what would you think?
Well, what we saw last year was the fires in these rocker panels. Air comes in through the noses, around the exhaust pipes, and vent out the rocker panels to try to keep the cars cooler. And there were some situations last year where the rubber would build up in there and it would catch on fire. That's what it sounds like once again, but a lot of things have been put in place to try to prevent that. I'm sure NASCAR is going to be very, very interested to see exactly what this fire is on this 47. Fire is obviously a main concern anytime you have fuel and oil, but those usually happens after an accident. This car just looks like it's on fire with very little to no damage.
Yeah, and the flames are just billowing out the right side of that car.
And it takes a minute to get unbuckled and get yourself out of this race car, but race car drivers are a little bit different breeds. Stenhouse didn't ever appear to be in a major rush to get out of the race car.
Look at that thing. It is just absolutely filled with smoke before we see him pop out.
The other thing that happens when you're in a car like this, when it's that much smoke, you can see nothing. You have zero visibility. You're getting out of that car, unbuckling your belts, doing all that by feel. But even here, he's just pretty calm. I'm gonna get out. That is scary stuff. Steve, to your point about the changes that have been made to the car, you hope that is something odd, something strange that is on fire and not a reoccurrence of what we have seen in the past.
So what could it be, right? There could be tire rubber in there. You could have had an oil leak or something that maybe puts a little bit of some sort of flammable material. You mix that with the rubber, the hot exhaust is in there. There's a lot of things that it could be. So I don't think we want to try to guess exactly what it would be. But I will tell you that NASCAR put a lot of work into this last year. So if this is another issue around that rocker box area, it's going to be high on the priority list on Monday for the officials, JTG Racing. This car might actually go back to the tech center, not back to the shop. What I mean, NASCAR will actually take it back only about a mile from here to the tech center and see exactly what happened. There's going to be a lot of curious eyes when this car gets pulled back into the garage.
So the AMR safety crew was immediately there to help out Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They're going to pull his car back to the garage area. As you mentioned, that one will probably go back to the tech center. But now these teams with under 12 laps to go have to make the decision inside or outside on the restart. It's worked every time so far for the 16 of Allmendinger to be on that driver's side right when they get to the restart zone.
The new restart zone has had an impact on this race today. It's It's a very difficult restart zone. The idea was to try to separate the fields just a little bit, getting into turn one. Watch what happened on this last restart. Watch the 8 car of Kyle Busch. Gets a great launch right there. The 54 actually jumped the curb, and when he jumped the curb, now he's not making rear grip with the rear tires, and Kyle Busch able to take advantage of it. And that's why that restart zone is so difficult. There's huge curves in that front chicane, and you're actually turning the car while you're trying to accelerate. The rear tires, Steve, will not make rear grip when you're turning the car. It unloads one side of it, and it just makes it so easy to spin the rear tires.
And the cars that pitted didn't want to see this yellow because now they're losing laps to use those new tires.
The one other thing about Kyle Busch, he has been, for probably the past decade, one of the best, if not the best, on restarts. He has been so good. He said on the radio just moments ago, I promise you, I did not pack my bags to come finish second this weekend. So you know he's going to be aggressive on the restart.
Kyle Larson had to start in the back of the field. Wrecked yesterday in practice. Did a great job of moving up through the field. Kept his car clean. Got himself in decent position.
Yeah, the 8 of Kyle Busch currently in a good position in second, but earlier climbing back to banking, got in a little bit of contact on the right side on another playoff car, the 6 of Brad Keselowski. Misses the chicane here on exit, gets to the left of the curb and has to serve a penalty by coming down pit road. He didn't stop in the appropriate spot, so it cost the 6 car a lot of time.
Tyler Reddick winning the stage. Maxon points out that stage. Now, Josh Bilicki and Corey LaJoie in contact. Chase Elliott was going to come to pit road, could not come to pit road, lost some track position through that.
Yeah, then more contact on the restart right here. You see beating and banging up front, the 8, the 16, and then the 11 trying to make up spots, just gets in too deep, spins around, and then contact with the 42 right there. Breaks the right rear toe link, the 11 and Denny Hamlin out of the race.
Brad Keselowski again on this front straightaway chicane, trying to carry too much space in there. Around he goes.
Dave.
With Randall Burnett now, crew chief for Kyle Busch. Fantastic restart last time. Does he have to get him on the restart this time to win the race?
Well, that 16 car's been pretty good. If we're going to get him, I think we're going to have to get him here pretty quick and hopefully hold him off. AJ's one of the best on these places, so that's not going to be an easy feat to do. But really proud of the effort on this 8 group today. We knew what we had to do when we came in here. Everybody's executed well. We've got a fast car, so we got the best in the business behind the wheel. Hopefully we can pull it off for us.
They're getting very close to their goal, guys.
And now, Jeff, back to your original questions. We look at the points. Truex plus 26, Reddick plus 28. You know, Truex is running 18th, Reddick 6th. You know, how much risk do you take? Is Ross Chastain back there in 22nd? I mean, you would think 26 is, no problem when we're safe, but with so many cars on the lead lap, still 33 cars, there's a lot of points to lose if you have an issue.
Yeah, we saw Jimmy Johnson here one day. If he would have just settled for second, he would advance in the next round of playoffs. He wanted that win. He pushed, spun in the front stretch chicane, and ended his playoffs. So anything can happen.
I think the Jimmy Johnson fans say it's still too soon to talk about that.
Ryan Blaney thanked him that day, by the way. All right, coming into the chicane and the restart zone. Allmendinger and Busch, 10 laps to go. Busch was sideways on this restart, and now he's got pressure on the outside from the 24. Here comes William Byron. Kyle Busch spun the tires, getting up to speed, and now he's going to drop another spot. Byron takes second away. Allmendinger already 5 car lengths out in front of William Byron. They stack up behind for 7th and 8th. Ryan Preece in the 41. Kyle Larson in that 5.
Ryan Preece having a good day. You can see Blaney underneath Christopher Bell. does Larson do here? Does he just give the spot up? He does. I like that move. Larson, no need to contest that at the moment.
Chase Elliott going to work to the outside of his teammate.
Still right side. Even with you. Still right.
Front stretch chicane, and they're coming in here fast. Blaney, Bell, little contact made, and more contact made as they go into one. Austin Dillon trying to take advantage of it in the 3 on the inside. Big tire lock up there. Ross Chastain.
You're almost starting to see more concession out of the playoff cars than you did earlier. Like, they just want to get these 9 laps behind them.
Chastain's done a good job of getting spots. He had to pit earlier with that problem. Pitted on lap 93. If he can get 4 or 5 spots here, get a caution, get 4 or 5 more spots, get a caution. I know he's a long way away in 15th, but anything can happen at the Roval.
19 points down right now as they run. The gap between 1 and 2 a little closer. William Byron. He has been so impressive this season and in the playoffs. Bumping and banging back there through the backstretch chicane.
Yeah, Harrison trying to use those new tires to find some positions. Keselowski back there. You see the 2 of Cindric was having such a good run. So he kind of got spun around.
Suarez has been aggressive in that 99 once he was spun around.
Oh, Byron seems to closing in on Allmendinger. Look at that, a real tidy right-hander through 3 and 4, almost a groove lower than the 16. Last time around, almost a 1/10 and a half quicker than Allmendinger.
Half a second separating the top 2. Kim.
And remember, William Byron is the most recent road course winner after picking up his first road course win at Watkins Glen. When I checked in with the team this morning, they said, yes, there's a little less stress on this race because we're already locked into the next round, but we don't consider this carefree. They said there are sponsors watching. There are shop personnel here that normally don't get to come to the racetrack each and every weekend, so that's motivating us here today to win. Not only that, those 5 extra playoff points, if we were to be able to steal another win headed into the next round, will do us very well. Right now, William Byron running P2 behind AJ Allmendinger.
You see Rudy Fugel there on the lower right-hand corner, and these two, once they've been paired back up again, he was the crew chief for William Byron when he was running in the truck series, but since they've been paired back up again, they have been a dynamic duo as far as getting to victory lane with that 24 team.
And William Byron again a little bit faster that lap. You saw the 16 car wiggle under braking, getting into the front stretch chicane, and Williams' car looked really flat, really calm.
I like the 24. It looks really smooth and calm, like you just said, Jeff. You know, not out of control. He's able to gain this 10th and a half a lap. Just right here, like look, he rolls back up on the 16. A little bit of rear wiggle there.
Got a little bit of loose condition out of the 24 through 7.
Oh, great exit of that corner by William Byron in the 24 car. 2 car lengths behind the 16 of Allmendinger. Is he close enough to mount an attack? He'll get a little bit of a tow right here.
He's got momentum. Is he going to try to outbrake him? He goes to the outside.
Allmendinger blocked the inside. That tells you that he is watching the mirror and he knows that Byron's a little bit quicker. Little defensive move getting in that corner.
Is Allmendinger racing out of his mirror right now, though? Just staying in front of him.
Well, yes, he's racing out of his mirror, and Kyle Busch wants to be close enough that if they beat and bang, he can capitalize. Because there's going to have to be some contact. It's going to be hard pressed for the 24 to go by completely clean with no damage. Kyle Busch, though, this last lap has closed it back in from nearly a second back. He is, what, now maybe 5 car lengths to the 24.
Yeah, Kyle Busch is a William Byron fan at the moment. He wants William Byron to get next to Allmendinger. Maybe a little contact, let him close the gap even more.
Under 6 laps remaining.
just to remind everybody, if the 8 car takes the lead, that takes Truex, who's currently plus 16, and moves him out. He then has a 3-point gap to Larson. So what looks safe for Larson or Truex is anything but safe with the 8 car running third.
Now back up under the big track. This is where we saw a big gain out of William Byron last time as it went into the backstretch chicane. Allmendinger, a bigger gap this time.
A bigger gap, but look how good that 24 is under braking. Gets right to the rear bumper of the 16. Although the 16 with a great backstretch chicane drives away.
Pulled away, and we were talking about the 19. How about Corey LaJoie in the 7 got to the inside of him. And now the 23 of Bubba Wallace gets by Martin Truex Jr. So Martin Truex Jr. still 15 points above the cut line, but that's assuming that everything stays the same up in front. And Kyle Busch doesn't get up there and challenge for this win. There's the top 3.
Allmendinger now settled down a little bit, starting to drive back away from William Byron.
Yeah, that was a really good last lap, nearly 4/10 better for Allmendinger, and you see it with the gap on the racetrack.
Look how close they stay to the right side of the wall in turn 7. There's tons more grip over there. No, they're not even using the whole racetrack.
Allmendinger out front. You have to wonder, is Tara and Arrow James, Allmendinger's son that was just born a few weeks ago, are they here to potentially watch A.J. Allmendinger try to get to victory lane?
And the battle behind these two, the 54 of Ty Gibbs, you see him on the right-hand side, is right on the rear bumper of the 8 of Kyle Busch. Ty kind of staying in line, though. I've been impressed with Ty in these playoffs. I know, you know, he's not a part of them, but he definitely seems to be making some more mature decisions of how he's deciding to race some guys. And I think a win is around the corner. Maybe not this year in the playoffs, where I think it's on the line for everyone else. But I really have this 54 as a playoff contender next year.
There's Ty Gibbs challenging the 8. Marty.
Rick, Chris Gale, the crew chief for Ty Gibbs, agrees with Steve. You remember the Bristol race in this playoffs as well? He nearly won that race today, so impressive, running in the top 5 for Ty Gibbs. But he tells him all the time, Gale will tell Ty, listen, it took Chase Elliott 99 races to win a Cup Series race. It doesn't have to happen this year, but that win is around the corner. And by the way, Ty Gibbs just turned 21 this week, Rick.
Yeah, 21 years old and very mature for his age, especially with how good he has been behind the wheel of a race car. Winning the Xfinity Series championship last year, then dealing with the passing of his father that evening. Ty Gibbs won the championship on Saturday night, and they woke up to find out that his father had passed away after celebrating with them on that win. Now under 3 laps to go.
At that time, William Byron was a little bit quicker than Allmendinger. Just closed the gap a little bit. Allmendinger cannot just ride around here. He's going to have to push to keep Byron behind him. And when you push here, it's easy to make a mistake. But there's no choice. Williams got enough speed to apply that pressure. Look how close they are. He almost hit that wall.
Down the hill they go. The 19 you mentioned hit the wall. How about the 19 hitting the wall coming out of turn 8?
These last few laps for Martin Truex have been kind of wild, man. If I'm James Small, I'm like, hey, can we just settle down here? We're in good shape.
Allmendinger now with a ½ second lead over William Byron. Into the backstretch chicane again. Byron looking as though he was gaining a little bit of ground there, but Allmendinger pulls away.
He is doing a nice job of forcing AJ to do everything right. It's so easy to not even make a huge mistake. Just catching a curb a little too much gets you offline. Right here in this complex, Byron to his rear bumper. You see, they both use the curbing about equal amounts.
Go get him. 5 more points.
5 more points. Those are playoff points. Those get carried into the round of 8 for the winner.
2 to go. William Byron chasing after Allmendinger. Busch has fallen back. He's 2.5 seconds behind these two. There are 14 road course wins by non-playoff drivers in this field, and 2 of them have come at the hands of A.J. Allmendinger. His 2 Cup wins behind the wheel on a road course, and he's trying to be perfect there. He slid it a bit as he came out of turn 8. Will that be the door opening for William Byron as they go down the backstretch?
And that's where it's easy to make a mistake. You got to carry enough speed into these heavy braking zones. They both know it. See Allmendinger's car sliding around a little bit.
Byron within a car length.
Oh, that got Byron some hope. He saw the back of that car moving around. He knows to press in the braking zones. See if he can get AJ offline on entry.
Into the chicane on the front stretch. Byron again within 2 car lengths. And now the white flag in the air. One more time around. This is what Colleague Racing wanted to see A.J. Allmendinger do in 2023 with 7 road courses on the schedule. And Allmendinger, as strong as he is on road courses, they wanted to see him be competitive in every single road course.
William Byron's 3 car lengths behind. Going to try to use every braking zone to his advantage, try to carry as much speed as he can, go to the throttle a little quicker than he's been able to, but as he pushes the car, asking for more, the car won't give it to him. You can see the 16 got away from him right there. That was just simply William Byron trying to get more speed.
And that is the breathing room that A.J. Allmendinger was looking for as they head down the backstretch, Rick, into that chicane. Last time in, William Byron definitely carried more speed in the braking zone. This time, Allmendinger has a little bit of a gap.
Byron knows there are 5 playoff points out there. He's going to be aggressive these final turns, but Allmendinger still with a 5-6 car length advantage now. Allmendinger's last win was at the Indianapolis road course back in 2021. That's 50 starts ago.
You, baby.
And now A.J. Allmendinger out of the final turn. He wins at the Charlotte Roval.
Love you, brother. Love you, man. Dinger's house, baby. Good job, buddy. Awesome job, everyone. Awesome job.
You can see how emotional it is for A.J. Allmendinger. He put so much pressure on himself. And those last 10 laps, you couldn't have more pressure with William Byron right on his back bumper. There's Matt Colleague, team owner. You think that conversation's going to happen?
Well, what's to talk about, man? Yeah. I need you in my car. Steve,
we love you, little buddy.
When NASCAR put the schedule out a few years ago, we said right? NASCAR said we're gonna run more.
Can I borrow my 54 degree now? God almighty, I love you, boy!
That's a great celebration. NASCAR said that.
Thank you.
It's a big deal for A.J. Allmendinger and this whole organization.
It shows you how much effort it takes and how much desire, how much dedication, commitment. And he knows it. He knows how big this is to win a cup race. It's a big deal. And
everybody, thank you so much. You don't know what this means to me. We love you, brother, man. It means the world to us, too.
Getting ready to climb out of this car once he gets back to the start-finish line. as excited as A.J. Allmendinger is about winning, there are 4 drivers that their championship's hopes were dashed. Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch will have to fight for a title in 2024 because the fight has ended for this season. The driver is headed back to the start-finish line. A.J. Allmendinger. This checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. Definitely not being very nice to those Goodyear tires that just carried him all the way to victory lane.
What a scene here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway at the ROVAL. And what a team celebration for A.J. Allmendinger, the new dad. Son Arrow coming into the world, the first non-playoff driver to win here in 2023. He cried that entire cool-down lap. A.J., you've won some big races in your life. You've won some big ones. You cried that entire cool-down lap. Why was this one so emotional?
Because you don't know when you're going to do it again. I love all the men and women at College Racing so much. First of all, on to my beautiful wife, my new baby boy. I usually give these checkered flags away, but I'm going to have to wrap this around Arrow. My mom and dad, all my family and friends. Those people see how much anguish and how much I put it on my shoulders when we're struggling. And I mean, it just means the world. Like, I hate crying right now, but it's a freaking cup race, man. You don't know when it's ever gonna happen again. Let's go, come on.
Does all the anguish make these moments worth it, AJ?
And more, this is why you do it. This is the only reason you do it. You fight. All the blood, sweat, tears. Everybody at College Race, it's just been such a, I'd say a down year, but up and down year. You know, it's our second year in the Cup Series. I can't thank Celsius enough for coming on board. Nutrient Ag Solutions, Action Industries, Lee Filter, all of our partners, Chevy, ECR for everything that they do for us. Matt Collick especially, Chris Rice, you know, Sparco and Arai Helmets and Corey Concepts, everybody that allows me to do this, but especially Matt and Chris. I freaking love you guys so much.
The emotion continues for A.J. Allmendinger. Chris Rice, the president of College Racing, comes in. You can tell this one means so much to A.J. He's won at Indianapolis, but this win at the ROVAL might be the most important one of his career. And he's going into the stands, Rick, to go hang out with all the fans here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Allmendinger heads into the crowd to celebrate with the fans here in Charlotte.
point.
The NASCAR America Post-Race Show presented by Progressive. And our post-race coverage now available streaming on Peacock as well. Shadows getting longer here at the Charlotte Roval, and A.J. Allmendinger taking the celebration to the grandstands here on the front stretch. Drivers advancing to the round of 8. Let's take a look. And again, the points reset to 4,000, and then all of the playoff points added to them. And so now you see the list of names: William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Larson on top of the cut line.
Well, and you look at the driver all the way at the bottom, Ryan Blaney, he even has 14 playoff points. So these next 3 races are anything but predictable. A couple mile and a half, and then the short track at Martinsville, where we have seen literally, with that Ross Chastain move, I can say everything happened for drivers to advance.
Dave.
Martin Truex advances, and I'm looking at the board here, 10 stage points, and then you get in by 12, so those are very important.
Yeah, I feel like we've just been slipping through these playoffs by the skin of our teeth. So, yeah, I don't know. Today is just another not very good day. First half of the race felt okay, but man, I get back in traffic and my tires were gone in 5 laps, so I'm not sure what we had going on there second half of the race, but thankful we're through, and we live to fight another day, and good racetracks finally coming up for us instead of Talladega and the Roval. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. I know we can go. I know we're capable of. We just got to find it again. We've lost something, so hopefully we can find it this week and go do what we did earlier in the year.
He's repeating what we've heard from him before. There is some confidence left in there, Kim, as they roll on.
And Dave, Bubba Wallace finishes 16th, not enough to get you to the next round. What was missing today here for you guys?
Texas. That's what I thought about after we got spun there. This weekend was incredible, just from the effort, from the team, from myself, just all clicking, right? And it felt really good to be competitive and run up front and pass cars on road courses and not be passed. It's a lot to look at, but what I analyze is what could I have done to not be in that situation? Could I have been faster, pass another car, how to be better to not put yourself when you're racing around there with squirrels. So it is what it is. Just didn't have enough, and it wasn't in the cards, and I guess that's what 30 is. I'm not mad. I'm happy for the team. I'm pumped for our season. It's not over with yet. I'm really excited for next week in Homestead, Martinsville, Phoenix. I might just go on vacation then, but we still got 4 races to go out and do it, so proud of the team, so I appreciate them.
I saw MJ give you a big hug. What did you learn about yourself and the team and were able to show other people during your playoff run?
We're putting all the cards in the right places, Usually couldn't count on a 23 at a road course race, right? I don't think you can say that anymore. I don't think I can say I'm stuck at road courses, so back-to-back really good runs at road courses. Finishes were okay, obviously not today, but just got to keep working on your craft. No matter how hard it can get, you got to keep working and trying to learn and be better.
So there you saw Michael Jordan coming over and giving his driver a big hug, and a reminder that post-race will continue to be shown on Peacock. Next weekend, it's the start of the round of 8, and that means the first opportunity to get into the championship 4, to lock a spot in there. And it starts for the Xfinity Series and countdown to green on USA at 3 o'clock. Xfinity Series racing at 3:30. Then on Sunday for the Cup Series on NBC at 2 o'clock, countdown to green, 2:30, Cup Series playoffs. So much in front of these drivers that are still fighting for that championship. A few now will be fighting to keep the momentum going for the end of 2023. One of those being the driver of the 6 there, Keselowski.